This is the One Piece Podcast, episode 408 for the week of Monday, February 29th, 2016. My name is Zach.
And my name is Ed.
And on today's episode, we have a very special guest, the translator for One Piece and Weekly Shonen Jump, Stephen Paul's with us. Hey, Stephen.
Hey, guys. Really excited about this week's chapter.
Great. That's good, yeah. We also have animation director from Rick and Morty. We have Bryan Newton with us. How's it going, Bryan?
Nee. Hello, everyone.
We have our editor, Erin, with us. How's it going, Erin?
Hey, everyone. How's it going?
Going good. I'll answer on everyone's behalf. And finally, our big guest for the week, not to diminish the rest of you guys, we have, from Crunchyroll, we have Miles with us. Hey, Miles.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me on again.
And how's it going there?
So, I actually wanted to talk about Crunchyroll real quick because One Piece has never done better on Crunchyroll than it's doing right now.
Woo!
Awesome.
So, it's not like newsworthy or anything, but, you know, I look at the numbers every day and I guess because we're in a really good part of Dressrosa, everyone's watching One Piece and people are watching on our site. So,
Yeah,
it's
do you
really
guys...
helpful.
Sorry, do you guys break it down to know exactly, like, what parts of the show people are watching? Or are they just watching, like, the most recent episodes?
So with One Piece, people are always watching the catalog. It's immensely popular, especially since we got the HD remasters of the earlier parts. So our premium members watch those a lot. But there's no hold back on that. Most shows on Crunchyroll, you have to wait a week before you can watch it if you're not a paid member. But One Piece, Friday or Saturday night, everyone's on there.
Nice.
And it's amazing how many people put that Saturday night time slot in their schedule and will wait for it to come out. And I know what that's like, so I'm really pleased to see all those people just wait, like count on the page, like 10 minutes ahead, watching the timer go down. I can see them, and they can see that timer. It's fun.
So that's not just me. I get it.
One Piece is like an egalitarian show. We all get to see it that Saturday night when it comes out. It's really cool. Yeah, I mean, and you also have Nebulandia is on there now.
That's right.
And I wanted to ask, though, I mean, do you know how well, I think the big episode of the year so far has been the Gear 4 episode. I mean, do you know how that's done compared to everything else?
That was the big one of the year for sure. Yeah. I don't think I'm gonna get in trouble for saying that. And I mean, it's also super impressive when you're looking at stuff on people look at the popular page to see what's popular. And Naruto's usually a little above One Piece, or they go neck and neck. But we have One Piece in about half the countries we have Naruto in. So
that's interesting, yeah. I didn't know
I think that says a lot, you know. So One Piece is super popular on Crunchyroll, and hopefully as we get more popular, we can fight for more regions, because we're definitely trying. We really want One Piece worldwide for obvious business reasons, also because our fans really, really want it. So
yeah, I think we're getting closer to that than ever. It feels like we're moving in that direction, at least. I think since it's been on Crunchyroll, especially. Well, definitely. So yeah, check that out. Crunchyroll.com/ is it one dash piece or One Piece? I think it's one dash piece.
It's one dash piece, but I can make it so both go there.
Oh, okay. Well, either way.
He has the power.
So check that out. We also have a few announcements before we get on with the show. Jose was nice enough to put up a few new episodes of OPP Dallas, which includes some interviews with some of the dub voice actors and actresses, including Colleen Clinkenbeard, Sonny Strait. We also have a sound mixer talking about all of his work, so you can check those all out at youtube.com/One Piece Podcast or on our website. I also want to mention, Erin, you and Jill and Allison put together a pretty cool editorial this past week.
Yeah, we did. It's all about fashion in One Piece. It's going to hopefully be an ongoing thing. And this month we talked all about the 3 group outfits for One Piece Film Gold. And it's pretty cool. You should definitely go check it out. We have a lot of opinions about very different things. A lot of opinions about Sanji's Crocs. And yeah, you should go read it and tell us what you think.
I also want to mention, since Erin's here, we do have a panel, as far as we know, at Anime Boston, so we plan on being there. Right now, it's just the two of us. Trying to recruit more of our staff there, but it's we'll pressure them. Ed, sorry,
I might still be working.
Work. Shh. Who cares about that? So we hope to see you there. We don't know when the panel is yet. We have a tentative time and date, but we don't want to announce that without knowing that that's when it is. So come to the convention if you weren't planning on it, because we will be there. We're also looking for a merch reporter, and we'll put more information about this on the website. But Erin, do you want to give the basic qualifications for this?
Sure. We're looking most importantly for somebody who can at least read and understand Japanese, and somebody who can speak and write English. Obviously, it doesn't have to be your native language, and neither does Japanese. Basically, somebody who can go on the different merchandise websites and tell us the coolest new stuff and write posts that we can put out to everybody.
Yeah, and this is going to be on the website. I know on the survey, a lot of people were looking for people to help out with that, or to at least to read articles about merch. So, yeah, please let us know. Please email us at onepiecepodcast@gmail.com and include the header merch reporter, and that way I'll see it, just like that. Okay, I think we're ready to get into the show. We have a manga recap of chapter 817, and Ed, we have 2 anime recaps this week. What are they for?
Yes, that is episodes 730 and 731.
And they cover around 5 minutes in real time, so...
They cover nothing!
Okay, Ed, calm down.
There's lots of pushing.
Lots of pushing. I have positive and negative opinions to share about both of those episodes. Depending.
That order.
In that order, yes. So we'll get into that shortly. And we also have probably a record amount of Piece Together this week, which makes me fear for next week. And so we'll go through as much of that as we can, but your question may not get read this week. So do not send us your hate mail, because that also will not get read this week or next week.
We'll just laugh.
We will laugh at it, but we will not laugh at it on the air. Well, we might, but we'll try not to. Anyway, why don't we get into the show? You guys ready?
Yes.
Yeah.
This is the anime recap, a double anime recap for episodes 730 and 731 of the One Piece anime, starting off with episode 730, Tears of Miracles, Manshiri's Fight. And you get 5 minutes and 8 seconds of recaps this week.
I mean, do we really have to go through these episodes bit by bit? I mean, it's 5 minutes. I'm sorry, I'm just like, I know you have notes, but it's just like, what happens really? It's like...
I'll go through it as quickly as I can.
Okay.
I actually do like the color motif used around Doflamingo in this episode.
No, this episode looked fantastic. Yeah. I think it looked great.
Mayhem, Armageddon, Doflamingo being a jerk. Someone calls Doflamingo a jerk. The sky has gotten dark all of a sudden, around Doflamingo especially, and it doesn't really make sense. It's cool, though. It looks cool.
No, it's supposed to... It's artistic effect. I get it. Yeah. I think 730 looked great, so I will agree with those points.
And there were parts of 731 that look okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's One Piece. It's not super consistent all the time, but...
So basically, the people confirm that everywhere is a battlefield now. There is no place left to run. And I love the look of the big spiky mountain in the background with the Doflamingo smushed into it crater. So the people of Dressrosa look to Riku for answers, but he has no idea what to do, really. And the Colosseum warriors are on their last legs, and balls of light begin to descend upon them. Leo knows what's up, and Hyrodin glimmers. So... we cut away to Zoro and the samurai. Zoro imbues his swords with haki, but he can't cut the birdcage. It was actually a pretty cool move when he powered up. That looked really cool. It was animated really well. But even though he knows it is unlikely to work, it's the one thing that he can do. He also has no reason to believe it would not work. And then we find out the samurai all have the use of haki, which again looks really cool when they put it on their swords like that.
It does.
Frankie, and there's a scene right here where they clearly have drawn the Tontadas at a certain distance, and they zoom in on them, and they look really poorly drawn. And they zoom out to show Frankie as he's leading them. I mean, and then they cut to them again, and they're drawn well because they weren't trying to cheap out on the shot. But
yeah.
It just kind of looked amateurish.
Yeah.
But then we get the super schmucks.
I like
first
what you called that.
First we get some more violent exposition to Robin. But then the remnants of the Doflamingo family take out some civilians. They have faith in Doflamingo, but they get wrecked by the Coliseum competitors who have been healed. And Leo explains that it was Mancherry who allowed them to do this by her powers. And we get a Baby 5 joke. And then Doflamingo decides on a new course of action to bring Luffy out. He's going to accelerate the birdcage. The citizens and Riku are horrified, as are the reject Coliseum guys who are trying to take. Were they working with Doflamingo? I've forgotten completely about guys like Logan and the Mask and the Mummy were working.
No, they weren't.
They weren't. They were
the only one. The only one who was quote unquote working for Doflamingo was Tank. Do you remember that? And he was actually with the Rikus.
Yeah.
It's the only one.
Parts of Dressrosa are a little convoluted.
Well, it's just because it's been going on forever.
Yeah. We come back from the ad break, and Sabo is really taking it to Burgess.
Really nicely animatedly taking it to Burgess.
Definitely.
Yeah, this was probably the nicest looking part of the episode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they know what to do well. Do we see that he notices?
No, they don't, because last time it looked like shit. Yeah.
Well, they can't always make it good.
No. So what happens?
Yeah, he notices the birdcage is speeding up, and basically, like, the second half of this episode is everyone noticing that the birdcage is speeding up. Viola notices them, and then Usopp freaks out.
They all notice it.
Law notices, fan-waving Frankie, and the Coliseum guys, and Fujitora, and some more of those light balls fall down around Fujitora. A lot of quick cutting going around. There was actually a really good cut from Fujitora to Doflamingo's face, and it's kind of jarring, but his face was done really well, and I really love the color scheme. And at this point, we find out that there are 3 minutes left before the birdcage closes, but 4 until Luffy wakes up and is able to use his Hanki again. At this point, the reject Coliseum guys, like Mummy and Damask, they all charge at Doflamingo, and he pretty well wrecks them. He impales them with his strings. It's rough.
Yeah.
And then Bartolomeo, you get him, he puts up his barrier, and Robin praises him, and he rejoices. He's so happy. But then everyone pushes in on the birdcage in their own way, all the Coliseum guys.
They do it in their own way.
Yeah. So Robin, wonders about their injuries, and then Leo finally explains the thing from the first act of the episode. They are Dandelixirs. They are made from Mancherry's tears.
And brilliantly done to make it seem like time wasn't passing here.
Yeah.
Because there was only supposed to be 2 minutes that passed in this episode. And remember, it around 15 minutes.
No, they said 4 minutes until Luffy wakes up, after the halfway point of this episode.
All right, well, that doesn't explain the next one.
Well, what I'm saying is the second half of this episode was 40 seconds of real time.
Yes. Yeah.
It's not good. It's not good.
No, we knew this was going to happen, though.
Yeah.
I remember in the manga, we're like, oh, this is going to be awful.
Yeah, that's mean I have to like it.
It's going to be the Frieza. Yeah. And it didn't work in the manga either. We were like, there's no way this is 40 seconds.
Yeah. And we see how one of the Dandelixirs helps the civilians. You see how they help the civilians, and they Mancherry's voice comes out when they hit people. I just thought that was kind of funny. Ganbatte Dressrosa. So
you know what I realized they should have done in the anime? They should have lied about how long all this took. They should have said, "Oh, it will take 2 hours."
Yeah, I would have believed
2 hours is still not a lot of time.
No.
Yeah, it's still why not?
But the problem with the Dandelixirs is they only last a few minutes, so you got to deal with that over the next few episodes. But Riku, he sees this. This is the light of hope for his Dressrosa, and we get a shot of Mancherry talking to Cub about this is how she fights. She can't use weapons, but she can use her powers, and she can cry, and that's actually a bit of a powerful statement.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, Gats, pro wrestling manager that he is, he refuses to send an injured competitor into the ring. But then Law shows up, and he's going to take care of Luffy. Just leave it to him. End of episode.
7:30 was much better than what we're about to talk about. But still, the material they have to work from, not the best.
Yeah. Episode 731, As Long as We Breathe, Stop the Deadly Birdcage. And I can tell from the title that this episode will be full of bullshit. Prove me wrong, kids. Prove me wrong.
Yep.
So 5 minutes, 20 seconds to the title card this week. And if you think about it, that's 2 minutes longer than Luffy has left to regain his haki at the beginning of this episode. Fuck off.
Yep.
Come on. Just come on. Okay, I will take this seriously. More dandelichters continue to fall, and God Usopp appears before astonished townspeople to give them instructions to push the birdcage. Although it is a funny gag where he is behind Hack, and people think that Usopp's voice is coming out of Hack. Yeah. But then they realize who Usopp is, and that's a bit of a funny gag. Yeah, no excuses. Just trust the gods, friends.
He's a god.
Doflamingo is still raging at his inability to find Luffy. Logan, astonishingly still alive, grabs Doflamingo by the ankle, and the other rejects charge at him, and he basically impales their shit. Yeah, there's actually, again, good color work on Doflamingo with his face, and especially his sunglasses in that scene. They're one of the better looking things in this episode. So the citizens are running around Dressrosa, and there is no place left to run, basically. And Rebecca appears to direct the citizens to the center of the birdcage at the Royal Palace Plateau. That's where it's going to be. That's where the final showdown's going to be. And as long as the Straw Hats and the friends continue to push, there is still hope. And someone actually thanks Rebecca. That I thought was, a big turnaround from where she was earlier.
Have we talked about the boobs yet?
I was going to wait till Viola shows up, but if you want to start,
could even the Rebeccas are also absurd, and they're just out there. So
at least gravity works on Viola's a little bit.
No, but
a little bit.
Okay, maybe.
But their size is more ridiculous.
It's their shape. I mean, okay, it's also the size, but the shape is ridiculous.
Yeah. Oh boy. Is there anything more to say about it?
No, that's all there is to say about it.
Yeah. So Rebecca takes up her sword. She looks at the sharp edge of the sword, and she decides that she has to do more. She's going to stand up for her country. She's going to take Doflamingo out. But Viola is already there. She won't let Rebecca die in the name of her sister. But it's too late. Doflamingo sees both of them, and Viola makes this actually kind of a stirring declaration that she will take some responsibility as a former executive of the Doflamingo family. But good God, her tits are distracting. I can't even. It's hard to pay attention to the scene when it's just done that.
I like what they did with her, though. Mm-hmm. We got to see a lot of what I call implied filler, including the eye whales, which is something that we really wanted in the manga, and they somehow listened to us and did it. So that was really cool, although ineffective.
This was peak frustration with the manga right here.
Yeah, but I think the anime actually did a great job with Violet. In this episode, and that's it. But Violet,
she gets more promo time.
She gets a lot of great time, and she tries.
Not just exposition, because that's all she's done for 10 episodes is just give people.
This made me appreciate Violet more, and also her fighting style was cool because it was this Spanish kind of it looked like her dancing, but it was kicking. It was cool.
She brought back the guitar. She comes at him with a knife, and I feel like Doflamingo was toying with her a little bit, or he wanted to make her suffer because
I think that's what
she betrayed the family. And that's where I was thinking about the difference between Crocodile and Doflamingo again. Crocodile expects people to betray him, but he won't forgive failure. It's the opposite of Doflamingo.
Yeah.
We talked about that during the manga. Anyway, Frankie is swiftly getting pushed the wrong direction with the factory, and the Zoro and the samurai are also, and they delude themselves into thinking it's slowed down. But oh shit, Fujitara's here, man. And he pulls out his blade, and Zoro's like, crap, I'm dead. But he helps them. He appreciates their foolish enthusiasm. And then he brings backup Marines. So, things are starting to turn around a little bit. And this scenario, as the citizens join to push the birdcage back, replays itself at various places around the country. They really add a lot of padding with this.
I think this episode could be described as a lot of padding.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. In more ways than one.
Yeah. The ad break, and we come back and quick cuts and split screens. So they show everyone pushing on the birdcage. Everyone believes.
That's the noise they make. They're pushing.
Yeah,
is that disturbing noise? A little bit.
Okay. A little bit. I love the animation on the strings cutting the ground right in that scene. That's pretty cool looking. But suddenly the strings stop, and they let that moment of silence really sit for the appropriate amount of time, and then. No, it didn't drag on for too long.
I thought, in the manga, I thought it was much shorter. I thought it was like a second.
Well, that's realistic anime time distortion feels.
Well, no, the manga, they were like, did that just happen? Like, they weren't even like sure if it had stopped. But I understand why they did in the anime, and sure, whatever.
But if they sped through it in the anime, I don't know if it would have had the same impact as it did in the manga, because you can really sort of imply the pause when you're reading it in the manga. Yeah. Anyway, the fact that they showed it was even possible to stop the strings really pisses Doflamingo off. And when we see Tank and Riku, who joined the push, they thank the pushers. Frankie leads the charge with encouraging words, but Doflamingo pipes up and he reminds them that it's hopeless, utterly, utterly hopeless. Viola counters with her whale tears attack, but Doflamingo is done fooling around. He's going to finish this off on her in the most painful way possible. He would never hold back against her, so he takes control of her. And Dofi, he will forgive failure, but not betrayal. And
it takes forever and never gets resolved.
And the tits are incredibly distracting.
Oh my god!
Like it's hard. It's a little harder to take this seriously when they're so poorly drawn like that, isn't it? Help me out here.
This whole thing is distracting.
Yes. Viola begs to keep Rebecca out of this, and this is taking forever. And now the plateau is even getting cut. This is getting bad. And we end this episode, and they tell us that essentially this episode took place over the course of 2 minutes and 20 seconds.
I'm speechless. We knew this was going to happen. It's not really the anime's fault. I mean, what the hell are they supposed to do, too? I mean, it's like...
more content per episode.
It's a hokotate. It's a immovable object, and what is it?
It's the immovable force and the God, I forgot.
No, we're mixing up the two terms. It's like the unbeatable force and the immovable object, something along those lines. Anyway, it's a phrase that also is in English that I, for some reason,
the irresistible force,
irresistible
object. Yeah. Yes.
Anyway, that's what this episode kind of is, and it shows. And next week doesn't look much better, and that's kind of scary. The problem. Yeah. I mean, the material is a lot of the issue here. I want to give the anime credits where it's due. 730, I think, was very well done considering the material they have. 731, I think, was fine considering the material they had. But looking at it objectively, they're both not very good episodes.
No, yeah. I wish I enjoyed it more, but they drag it out, and I don't know if my issue with finding the poorly drawn breasts distracting, is that just going to be for the rest of the series with me?
I think it just depends who the director is and how horny they are that day.
I don't know. Maybe Viola and Rebecca are they're just like cursed.
Well, I mean, they're worse characters to have cursed. I mean, I guess if you're going to have two,
I don't know. They deserve to be drawn well, is what I'm saying.
They do?
Yeah.
I'm not huge fans of either of those characters.
I
like Viola.
Rebecca.
Yeah,
the Rebecca and Kira's story more than most.
Yeah, you're the unpopular opinion there, but yeah, not the unpopular one. I just disagree with
minority.
Minority, yeah, maybe it's correct. All right, well, I don't. These were middle of the road episodes.
Hopeful that the anime will get better, and I have no doubt that the final fight will be the final blow will be amazing. But I gotta wait for it.
Well, why don't we get into the manga and then we'll do some Piece together? Are you ready?
Yep.
Today's episode of the One Piece Podcast is sponsored by Kolektakon. Check them out at kolektakon.com/One Piece for all your One Piece Mega House merchandise. And we haven't had them as a mid-roll sponsor in a little while, so we're really, I mean, they've been a very loyal sponsor on the website for maybe a year and a half. So I'm happy to be talking about some figures again. It's been a while.
Mean, and their shipping costs are fair, and frankly, the prices on Kolektakon are so much better than you would get at any anime convention. There really isn't a place that has consistently better pricing, as far as I can see, than Kolektakon. So if you're looking for a new figure like this one that I'm interested in, actually, is the excellent model, Portrait of Pirates One Piece Neo DX Zoro, the 10th anniversary version of him in his East Blue attire with the bandana on. It looks really great. And also the Sabo figure with the Flame Fruit, which is a variable action heroes One Piece Sabo by Mega House. That actually looks really good, and it's opposable. So you should check those out. Those look like they'd be worth your while.
The Corazon and Law figures, which the pre-orders are closed for, but I am hoping opens up again. It says it's releasing in March. Really cute / cool. I mean, anything with Corazon. He should be on fire, though. I mean,
there's actually a lot of good children's figures there on Kolektakon right now with Vivi, Frankie, and Usopp, which are the Portrait of Pirates small ones. Those are actually
and Chopper, who's small but not a kid.
Right.
Which includes faces of him hiding, not very well, seeing some robotic action figure probably, one that looks like he's full, one that looks like he's amazed, and one where he's complimented. Oh, I might have to get this figure. This is... but you could check that all out. That one's available for pre-order. They're all available at Kolektakon.com. But you guys out there also have been helping us at patreon.com/One Piece Podcast. And if you become a patron for $15 or more, we'll talk about your project on the air at the end of every month. So let's talk about our February contributors. First, Ed, do you want to tell us Mr. Cass222 has one for us?
Sure. His webcomic, Shadow's Soul, Chapter 9, has just come out, and unfortunately the comic is going to be going on a bit of a hiatus as he's going back to university, but it should pick up again in June. So just enjoy and take your time with the read, and he wants to thank all the One Piece Podcast listeners for supporting his comic for the last 3 months.
Thank you, Mr. Cass. And we'll be...
There'll be a link to the comic in the show notes.
Yeah. And we have one more.
That's right. We have Moon Cabal making the webcomic Astral AVs at astralavs.com. And as they say, you can say whatever you like. But we just appreciate the fact that we have such dedicated fans who also want to create things. And, if you're a fan and you like to create things, you can have us talk about you here. Yeah.
Yeah. It could be about anything. It could be art. It could be fan fiction. It could be, figures. It could be whatever you want to talk about with the community. Please let us know, and the best way to do it is on Patreon, or if you have your own podcast or website or whatever. It's a great way to get the word out.
And indeed, and also just to say, Moon Cabal also really, really enjoyed the Lady One Piece podcast, so maybe we should probably do that again soon.
I think we should, right, Erin?
Yeah, that's right.
So why don't we get back into the show? You guys ready?
All right.
This is the manga recap for chapter 817, Raizo of the Mist. Ed, why don't we start on the very front page of Weekly Shonen Jump? What do we have going on there?
Well, we have a Luffy drawn with a lot of shadow and a high level of detail, especially on his clothes, and they have the realistic skull straw hat Jolly Roger behind him, and it's this really sort of sketchy red on black, and it looks really nice. It complements his hair and his clothes.
Is it just me, or is that smirk really creepy though?
It makes him look like Sabo, because they basically have the same features, except Luffy doesn't usually look this mean.
Yeah, I've never seen Luffy smile like that, especially on like the cover of something.
It's the shading for sure.
Mm-hmm. He's like,
because
yes,
he's
excellent.
He's made that smile before, but when you look at the shading on his upper lip with the deep red on everything, it just makes it look like he just murdered someone in the bathroom.
Thank you. That's all I was saying.
That's why we need to have an artist on the show every week.
Any other thoughts on that?
No, but there is Oda has interesting author comments in the back of Jump this week, just in case people didn't read them on the back page. But he said that he played a little futsal, which is indoor soccer, on a team with Sakurai from the band Mr. Children. It was supposed to be for my health, but it almost killed me.
He needs to cut that smoking habit out. That will help him.
That would probably help. It's nice to see he's forged that relationship with Mr. Children so well.
It's nice to see that he's exercising.
More important.
Yeah, well, he had that comment. He had that comment like a week or two ago that was like, "Oh, I'm getting healthy and I'm, starting off the new year right," or something like that. And then it ended with "it was all," and then I woke up, or like it was all a dream or something like that. So
I guess he's actually doing it, unless this
Yeah.
is a long, protracted Inception-like dream, but looks good so far. What's on the color spread this week, Ed?
The color spread this week.
But first, let's all tilt our heads 90 degrees.
Or
One
flip your
Piece
phone.
or if you're on your phone.
Yasmaji. Yeah, it's a roulette wheel, and the straw hats are all part of the roulette wheel, but Luffy is drawn climbing onto a table and slapping down some cards. I really dig, especially how Zoro looks like he's licking his sword. And we see who appears to be possibly the main villain of the film in the star above Luffy's head.
Yeah, that's what's his name again? We've already. I'll get his name.
It's Gil Tesoro, I think.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
it.
And also, there is going to be a character from the film revealed in next week's Jump, and some people have speculated that it looks like the person in the Joker card next to the villain's head. So it's got the same helmet as some other hints that were given elsewhere.
Is that person going to be a mermaid? Do we know that?
Well, the Joker is.
It'll be revealed in next week's issue of Jump. We'll find. And Luffy appears to be wearing black lederhosen. What's up with that?
Erin, I should throw that one to you since it's the new column you guys are doing.
We didn't have much to say about Luffy. He looks great. Fabulous as always.
I think it's just a vest and pants that are and shorts that are the same color, but it looks like lederhosen.
Yeah, I think it was this poster that made me realize the potential plot to this movie. Because if you even notice, Brooke is wearing gloves, and so Chopper
gloves.
might be wearing gloves as well.
Robin's wearing gloves.
Yeah, everyone's wearing gloves. Well, except
Nami.
Nami and Luffy.
Oh.
But it might be a heist movie.
The gloves are off.
Yeah, this whole like casino and them being dressed in black and also the white outfits from earlier feels like an Ocean 11 type. Like, we're gonna case the joint and then at night we're gonna knock it off.
But since when do they talk like the sticky bandits from Home Alone?
Hey, it's our calling card.
I want to believe that all of these outfits, like they're all literally wearing the exact same like shiny booty black leather outfit that Robin had in Ennia's Lobby, like from that one volume cover.
Yeah, she's the only one who didn't need to get a new outfit. Everyone
Exactly,
else is
You had to buy the gloves. But,
Yeah,
you know,
that's
fingerprints
true.
and all that.
And
It's a
then
good look, though.
No, it's a good look. I want to judge the outfits when I see them in the movie. I'm gonna hold off before having opinions.
I try not to learn too many things about movies before I go see them.
Yeah, no, I can't avoid that because
I know. And that's why I'm grateful I'm me and not you sometimes.
But what do you guys think of the spread overall, though, or I guess the poster?
I want it.
It makes me want to see this movie, so yeah.
I like roulette wheels and Vegas themes, and I'm excited. I'm excited for this one.
This movie looks fun.
Yeah, it does not look like it's in the same vein as Zed, particularly.
Zed was good,
but it was
this
serious. Zed was a serious movie.
This looks more in the vein of Strong World. Which is cool.
For sure.
Yeah, I agree. It's a fun.
Yeah.
It looks like a fun movie.
And also with the main villain, that star, with just the gold plating and the fact he's holding a mic, kind of makes me think of like a record executive or some like soulful singer of some sort.
It's interesting that they give him the same color motif as, or maybe they aren't, but it's hinting at this as Shiki. He was the golden lion.
Well, I also want to say, since this episode and probably the next episode of the podcast is going to be the Zach conspiracy theory episode. Look at what's on his glasses, guys. They're wings. Who knows what that's about? Looking at you, Bryan. Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you.
And a star that's in the sky also. Okay.
And on Frankie's arms.
Ed, why don't we start ominously on the first page of the chapter?
So we start off this week's chapter with a long shot of Jack's ship, and he is sarcastically reading the newspaper. What do you think? I look dead to you? Oh, no, sir, not at all. You look very much alive, Master Jack. And we see his eyes again, of course.
I want to also.
He is rather bandaged, though.
So are his ships. His ships are in awful, or at least his ship is in awful shape. Yeah. It looks like.
It looks like a ghost ship with all the tattered sails and whatnot.
Yeah, I don't think it looked like that before.
Yeah. But yeah, last shot of him on his eyes as he's tearing the newspaper in two. Like, Steve's on here. No one's going to get my wrestling references. Never mind.
Finally. No, I'm kidding.
Tearing it down the middle like Shawn Michaels after he kicked Marty Jannetty through the barbershop window. Anyway, back on Zoe. I'm going to do it anyway. I don't care. Kurao City, back on Zoe. Kinemon is speaking. I am grateful to you all, and now observe as we turn the page. Look at that. That is the crest of the Kozuki clan, the same as Raizo has.
I thought you were going to say the crest on Birdman's helmet, but okay, I'll go with that.
Crest on Birdman's helmet.
But everyone is shocked. Pedro, Shishilian, Bibi, Wanda, Carrot. It's just like Raizo has, and and Luffy's like Kozuki because apparently he's from Baltimore. Kozuki. All right. So yeah, I guess that's Usopp or Frankie speaking. It's hard to tell who's speaking in this panel.
I think it's Usopp because he was tackling them in the last chapter, and now he's relieved. He's like, okay.
Yeah. So they knew each other all along, and here he was worried, and they were all worried about them fighting. But Robin says, it couldn't be helped. It was a secret from us too. I think that's Robin who's saying that. And Nami, sort of with her chin in her hand, sort of like kind of like a sigh of relief. Like, and they said that Doggy and Kitty have the crest too. The bond is deeper between them than we realize, or maybe it is much deeper.
You couldn't change that to cat dog, Stephen. You couldn't say that cat and dog or cat dog.
Was she being cutesy when she said that? Like,
I think partially cutesy and partially patronizing, which I think came across, but yeah.
Yeah. And Kinemon begins speaking again, and he says, I'll be honest, Dogstorm, Cat Viper, I'm surprised that you both are still alive. And Dogstorm says, well, it was a close call, but they have to be here. They needed to be here based on the pact of that day. And Cat Viper, interesting wording, says, we knew we could meet Yugara again. Or not that we would, but that we could.
I also really like that panel, the second to last one. It's a cool angle. I don't know, I'll just say that.
With like Kinemon's like half wink.
Well, I mean, Kinemon always has a half wink.
It's true. Yeah.
I would also like the image of Cat Viper and Dogstorm sitting next to each other right there. Also, I love Nami's hand like on her chin like that. It's just it does give off the like.
Let's go backwards through the chapter.
No, it's easier to read the patronizing intention that Stephen was talking about when she's resting her hand like that.
Miles, go ahead. Sorry.
Next.
All right, so we got the dog and the cat, and hey, monster cat. I was talking to Kinekomon just now. Oh my God, I have so much fun with the names this chapter. You read them so quickly.
That's usually Zach's role.
Yeah, that's my job. I'm the one who massacres him.
And we get a morale and, oh yeah, well, I thought he'd get sick talking to Yogara. I'm going to go with that. So I took over the conversation instead. And then it's yelled, please, you two, stop. Our long-awaited visitor has finally arrived. And we don't know who's saying that. But it'll become clear soon. Yogara are finished here. Be gone. And then, tuck your tail and scram. So we've got this argument between these two, Cat Viper and Dogstorm. Stop this fighting! He yells. King Kumon, oh my gosh, please help me.
Momonosuke.
Momonosuke yells, Cat Viper, Dogstorm, stop this fighting. You were such close friends before. Why would you fight to the death? And then they say, well, I forbid you to fight again, especially if what happened to Father is the cause. If Father saw you acting like this, he would be very sad. And he's got, the One Piece snot coming down just as fast as the tears.
I mean, he's holding it back pretty well. He hasn't completely lost his tears yet.
This is no Kobe. We can say that.
Certainly not.
No.
This is positively restrained for Oda.
Well, this samurai, they have to not be of emotion.
Good point.
Yeah.
Good point.
Very compelling argument here. And what I really like about this is just, I don't know, we haven't seen much agency from him before. We we haven't seen this kind of authority, and it's nice, and it leads into the next page pretty well. And we've got Cat Viper and the Dogstorm, Lord Odin, Momo, Father, the Straw Hats say. But Kinnikumon's right here. Usopp's really confused. Luffy surprisingly invested in this conversation. And the two lords say, "Forgive us. I am ashamed, Lord Momonosuke." Right.
They bow their heads to the ground.
All the way to the ground, which is
frustrating.
Pretty considering they are the two lords of this island as far as we knew. Huh? Your Grace, say a bunch of random...
Those are the
Three Musketeers.
Yeah, the Musketeers.
Oh, the Three Musketeers. Look at me.
Yep.
All right. Huh? Your Grace. The boss is bowing his head to that boy. Could he be? Is it as Lord Momonosuke says? And we see
lots of reveals here. Steven.
And we finally get this rumored...
Greg rumored.
Yes, Greg rumor clarified here when Kinemon says, "Forgive us for deceiving you. In fact, it's been a sham all along. Lord Momonosuke and I are not father and son." And this is just blowing the crew's mind.
Why did Usopp and Nami have to lean their heads in?
Because they saw how close the camera was getting.
With that hat,
you're breaking the fourth wall.
This was in Greg's column as well, and I'm going to mention the least important thing in Greg's column. Usopp really does look like Kaku with that hat on in every panel he's cut off.
Never realized that. That's good.
He's got the cap. He's got the black cap. Anyway, please.
So finally, we get the full introduction of Momonosuke here. He is Kozuki Momonosuke, the heir to Kozuki Oden, who is the great daimyo of Kuri in the land of Wano.
Now I have 80 questions here.
Yeah, that's a mouthful here.
Like the chestnuts?
Let me start out with my first question. Was it Kazuki last week?
No, it was not. And I'm glad you asked. I was going to mention that. Yes, last week it was Kogetsu. And this week it was changed, like the hiragana that they used to tell you how to pronounce the kanji was changed to kozuki, and those are both legal ways of reading the kanji, which are light and moon. And my theory here, this is completely my theory, but I'm like 90% sure that I'm correct, is that Oda wrote down the two kanji. See, he just writes down his script, in hand in the bubbles, and then they give it to the office, and it all gets typed up, and the fonts are all designed, and all that stuff happens digitally. And so I think what he did is he literally just wrote the kanji, and someone read it and went, "Oh, that's Kogetsu. Obviously, that must be Kogetsu." And then they probably finished up the chapter, and then he saw it, and he was like, "No, wait, it was supposed to be Kozuki." And so they had to change it for the next chapter. That's my personal theory, is that he just didn't write how to pronounce it, and because it was in kanji, and then he clarified it to them for the next time around.
Was there any? I have a question about that. Is there any difference between Kogetsu and Kozuki? Would it have made sense as Kogetsu, or was
what do we each mean? Yeah, even.
It's light and moon. So, in other words, like moonlight, just in reverse order.
Sorry.
So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, your guess is as good as mine.
I see.
If they both mean the same thing, though, Kogetsu and
yeah, it's just different ways of reading the kanji. That's kind of how names in Japanese work.
Yeah.
Is, some of them are based on they have different reading styles depending on if they're if they're kind of more Japanese in origin, or if they're more kind of Chinese in origin. It's kind of like, I don't know, it's like the difference between Latin roots and Anglo-Saxon roots or something like that. It's just, they're just different aspects of the language, and everyone is familiar with them. All the kanjis, that's why they have different readings, is because some of them will be the Chinese style readings, some of them will be the Japanese style readings.
And it's probably way too early to figure out Oda's full wordplay. with all this yet.
Yeah, maybe there's something there. I mean, I don't know. It's not the first time that we've had a character's name change after a brief mention, and then it gets fully explained in the next chapter. Like Peckham's in the very first chapter, before we saw him as a character, his name was mentioned as like being on the way to Fishman Island as Bokum's. And then he showed up, and all of a sudden he was Peckham's. Yeah. So it's not unprecedented here.
And I also wanted to ask about Kuri. Is that like chestnut, like Kuriza?
There's a lot of questions I have.
Well, it could be a pun. He did use kanji for it, and I think, it was like 9. I think it's 9 ri, if I remember correctly, which ri is like one of those old Japanese like measurements, sort of like a kilometer or whatever. So it's clearly the name of a place, but obviously it could be taken as a pun, like a Toriyama style.
Yeah,
or something.
It's likely an equivalent of like a prefecture or city state or something.
That's what I'm guessing. Yeah, because this is mentioned the daimyo of Kuri, so it's not the shogun. It's just the daimyo who is just the lord of that
region.
Right.
So it's like the governor of
kind of, yeah,
lord. Yeah. Well, a governor in a feudal system. Yeah, not
right. And we don't know how this may be different from reality. This is Oda's version of a kind of old-timey Japanese thing. So he may have his own spin on stuff, but this is kind of what we're piecing together as we get more details.
I'm sorry about that. And Odin, I'm guessing, is from Norse mythology, or is that
no? Odin is the name of. This is going back to the food thing. Oden is the name. Now, it was just in hiragana, so there's no kanji for this. But Oden, everyone who is in Japan would hear that and think of the dish Oden, which is a hot pot. It's a nabe thing that they eat in the winter. That's just like a bunch of vegetables and meat and fish stuff. It's just a very rich. They just toss a ton of stuff in a pot and just boil it. And it's very much a wintertime food.
Didn't Oda mention a while ago in one of his author's comments that he was looking forward to eating a lot of Oden this winter?
He did. Yeah. And it was on the color spread, the big Sanji one that has a lot of other hints on it from a few weeks back.
Holy shit, is Oda just dropping hints about the series randomly in these like really obtuse ways?
We actually haven't mentioned just
He's never done that before.
Slightly off topic is that the outfits from the barbecue outfits are on that color spread in that laundry list. Are in that. All right, I'm sure there's more to ask about this, but I do want to give props to Greg, who essentially called this in Punk Hazard. If I'm correct, I think
that they were not family, you mean?
And that he was related to either the shogun or someone of royal descent. I don't know what to call it.
Yeah, I remember that being a point of conversation, considering that Momosuke's attitude really is like really stand out compared to Kinemon's.
True.
All right, so Stephen, sorry to interrupt, but there were lots of questions.
All right, so yes, the revelation of Oden's son Momonosuke is like a bombshell on the Minx here. They're all like, "Oh, it's Lord Oden's son." It's like, "Oh, we're so sorry, we didn't realize." And the crew, of course, is taken aback by this. Frankie's like, "Oh, he's some kind of big shot," and Robin is pointing out that if they, meaning the Minx, are the vassals of this family, then this lord, he must be a real big deal. And we have Kinemon here is explaining that he and Kanjuro and are, along with Dogstorm and Cat Viper, they are all servants. They all serve Lord Oden. But allowing while they were traveling for, we still don't know why, but to have Momonosuke's identity revealed would be very dangerous. There are enemies that would come down upon them. So that's why they had to pretend to be just a plain old father and son. And Kinemon says, he's like, "Look, I trusted you guys. I would have told you. I just, the moment wasn't right," which is another way of Oda saying, I wanted to tell you guys, but, it just, it wasn't the right time in the story. So I artificially held it back for you just so we could have this exciting moment here.
Well, now this explains why Momosuke was sought by Doflamingo.
Yes, it does. It certainly tells you that he is more important than just a boy. That's for sure. We still don't know, why that would mean, he is wanted, because certainly there must be other lords with other sons that that could be wanted as well. So.
Certainly.
So yeah, Luffy's, oh, you're not a family, and Brooke says, oh, but they look so alike, and we get the little.
This thought bubble. That's great.
The perverted look on their faces, very similar indeed. And Momonosuke is like, I'm sorry for lying to you. The truth is, I am actually very important. And I believe his Brooke is like, yes, a very pervert indeed. And he said, I said very important. Which actually, this is a really tough joke. This went through several permutations. I think the one that this was done by the office
editor?
staff at at Shonen Jump. I think mine. God, what was mine? I think my original joke was like, I am actually an aristocrat, and Brooke was like, oh yes, you're a very wicked brat indeed. And he's like, no, I said aristocrat. But the original joke was between the words erai, which means important, and eroi, which means like perverted or sexual. So that was that
really gets it across then, yeah.
Yeah. And Luffy doesn't care, of course, that he's important, which ticks Momonosuke off because he's the daimyo's son. He's supposed to get proper respect, and Luffy is not having any of it. They've been acting that way all this time, and they're not going to change now. And everyone is shocked by this horrible treatment of the very important boy.
Erin.
So yeah, Luffy and Momonosuke start fighting like cats and dogs, while the rest of the Straw Hats kind of look on boredly, like, oh, whatever, kind of thing that always happens.
Even the cats and dogs are looking on board.
And then Kinemon says, there they go again. Well, they are our saviors. And Kanjuro gets one of the few lines that he has in this chapter. He says, you cannot expect pirates to have manners. At least it is a good distraction for him, perhaps. And then Momonosuke just throws himself into Nami's bosom. And he says, curses! Oh, Nami, Luffy is the most beastly man. And she's comforting him. There. And I really like this sound effect. Boof. Like hitting something large and soft.
Yeah, good job there, Steven.
It had the sound effect has a heart.
It does. Mm-hmm. So it's like, boof.
Thank you, Erin.
That's why I'm here. But Momo, he's living the dream. He's squeezing Nami's boobs, and
the face returns.
Yeah, the face.
Jesus,
love it.
And Kinemon is very upset about this, and he says, "Get away from her, Lord Momonosuke, you wicked brat." And
it actually makes that original fight a lot less disturbing than it originally was, knowing that they're not related. There's something about that makes it's still weird and disturbing, but
I love Kanjuro. There's like, come on.
He's clearly the straight man in this group.
Or no, he's probably not the opposite.
Is there a straight man in their group?
No.
So Nami says to Momo, as she kind of like presses his face further and further between her breasts, and she's like, "Oh, your father is a great lord. And then I suppose his castle has a lot of treasure." And like you can see, you can see Momo's hand in the background. He's like twitching. He's clearly like suffocating, developing some kind of weird fetish, I'm sure.
I like this is now.
Squish has a heart too.
The Squish does have a heart.
I like this is now a two-way relationship of abuse here.
I like how upset Zoro and Usopp are about this. They're like, "Don't you dare!"
I like that they're not okay with Nami taking advantage, but they're fine the other way. It's Kinemon and Kanjuro have one problem, and Usopp and Zoro have a different problem.
Yeah.
So everybody's fighting, and
there's more hearts coming out of there.
There are more hearts. And Cat Piper's talking out loud to himself, I guess, and he says, "And it's only been a few months since then. I suppose the liveliness of these folks has been a blessing to him." And then I get this cool dodon panel of Cat Viper and Dog Storm standing side by side. And Dog Storm says, "Let's have a ceasefire, Cat. If we let this drag on, it will only pain Lord Momonosuke." And Cat Viper responds in a very like cat-like kind of tsundere kind of way. "Only for the sake of our liege, baka." He says, "I might share words with Yugara, but not my sympathies." But then they have this great like hand clasping moment. And you guys remember that scene with Arnold Schwarzenegger?
It's from Predator.
Yeah.
It's the most epic handshake.
What is it? "Dylan, you son of a bitch."
Damn. It's Carl Weathers and Arnold Schwarzenegger meeting for the first time.
I always think of it, there's that video with the Giles theme that goes over it.
Giles theme goes with everything.
Yeah. So I'm really hoping when this happens in the anime, somebody can sync that up.
Please.
And all of the other minks are so happy about this. They're like, "Oh, it's a miracle." And the King of Day and King of Night brought together by the power of Kozuki. And both Cat Viper and Dogstorm look a little bit unsure about this, but, they're going to work together. And the people are still happy. The kings have made peace, and yay, and I'm crying.
And so that means it's time to walk up the whale. Walking up the whale. So, we go past the Guardian's dwelling, it seems, and we see hiking up the whale as they use the vines to cross. If you want any more details, consult your local Google Maps whale view. And the Cat Viper is leading the group, super happy.
He's doing a brown beard here.
He is. It's the Cat Viper bus.
Nice. Very nice. You're writing that down, aren't you?
That's possible. I feel very conceited writing my own stuff down. Chopper and Luffy are on his back. Chopper very excited about meeting a ninja, and who wants to do the Luffy dance here? Bryan, I think you were doing it when we started.
Ninja, knee.
There you go.
I'll have to see the ninja, the wonderful ninja Raizo.
Against the ninja.
No, the wonderful ninja of Zoe. It's just the opposite of Oz.
That's great.
Anyway, Kinemon is holding Momo on his back, who's complaining about how he's not feeling very good. As Usopp, what is he doing? Is he calling his nee?
No, he's doing like that ninja move where you like grasp your hands together and stick out your index finger and kind of like summoning or praying.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, he is.
And he's imagining himself as a
ninja. It could also be a concho. Just saying.
Nami did the same thing when she summoned the weather egg after in the Punk Hazard.
That's right.
No, not Punk. It was when they're inside the lab. My fault.
And Kinemon gives Momo the option of waiting below. And Momo and Law notices something awry here. We have ellipses, so not awry, but he notices something's up here. And Kinemon and Momo complains that the closer that they get to the whale, the louder a certain voice is. In quotation marks, which we'll undoubtedly be discussing later. And Kinemon, just to give us more discussion, says your disposition is similar to Lord Odin's. It's still more fun to say Lord Odin, imagining the Nordic god, but whatever. I'll imagine a thing of noodles or whatever.
If Odin has one eye, I wouldn't put it past Oda to draw those comparisons.
It sounds so similar, right? Although a lot of things in the Japanese language sound the same, which is why there's just too many puns.
Wow, racist.
Okay, that's fair. So Dogstorm adds that there was another man who could say such a thing. Okay, I get it. You're hinting to something big. And Cat Viper saying, yeah, that reminded me of him too. God, you're just Jesus.
Who could they be talking about?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. I'm serious. Who?
It would be really terrible if half this chapter were devoted to some gag. Anyway, we continue going up the whale tail, and it's what it is.
Yeah. Whale of a tail. I'll tell you, lads.
And noticing that there is an entrance on the tail. An entrance on the tail? I don't know what the hell's happening to me. And they
Village
go
of Hidden Doors.
and they go down into the depths of the whale.
I'm trying very hard not to make an anal joke.
You can try
Wow.
it. It's not.
behind the whale tail.
I was also trying not to do that, but it's what it is. It's a whale tail. There's nothing else to say about it. Okay.
Yeah, they go into the whale tail. The entrance on the whale's tail.
Oh my god. It is Oda we're talking about, so it's actually very likely that was the joke here. So they walk down the stairs inside the whale. There's no way out of this, is there? And they hear screaming. Okay, there is no. I'm just gonna stop
Back up
right
the
here. No, so they continue going down, and they hear screaming. And inside the whale tail is a ninja who notices that Cat Viper is there. And apparently I'm doing the next one as well. So we find out it is, as the scroll opens, Ninja of Wano, Raizo of the Mist. And it's exactly as we all imagined him.
Look at that.
Totally.
Indeed.
A beautiful, handsome-looking man who has the hair of Gadatsu and the face of...
No, he has the hair of Gadatsu. He also has the chestnut point on the top of his head.
Yeah, the hair of Gadatsu, the chestnut point of some chestnutty...
No, it looks
Nolandish
like
kind of thing.
It reminds me of
Or Usopp's hat, I guess more.
No,
Alfalfa.
yeah, no, it reminds me of Nolan. That's what
Nolan. I said
Alfalfa.
Nolan. I said
Oh.
Nolan.
It is a cowlick. That's that type of hairstyle.
But also-
For that little peak.
Actually, it reminds me more of the Freddie Mercury guy from Water 7, Lulu.
Lulu, yeah.
And he has a crescent moon on his forehead. Moon, Bryan.
Star of the crescent moon.
Yeah, that looks like it was carved in. Perhaps self-inflicted. I'm now just making stuff up. And he is saying, "Why did you not hand me to your foes? You brought in everyone who was brought here for his food was injured. He had noticed, and they had told him that the country is safe. But he is crying because he does not know if that's true. And if he's lying, then you have earned the wrath of Raizo." And everyone is shocked that he does not look anything like they imagined, as we see some ninja portraits in the back. And by everyone, I mean the guys.
I'm just realizing that this is a full body shot of Raizo. I thought he was like leaning forward or something, and that's why his head was so big. But
No, I did not notice that.
Nope.
ugly, ugly man.
His
oh my
head's way too
god!
big
There's
for
his
his
tiny
tiny
feet.
little features. Yeah.
Oh my god!
And then what's funny about it, he is like he's a bigger guy as far as One Piece goes, but his head's just gigantic and his limbs are so tiny.
Guys,
Are
what
those
if he's
scales?
like Ivankov's long lost brother?
all the samurai, the three of them are all huge. Momo's the only tiny one. And I guess who knows how tiny he is for his age. I mean, Kinemon's freaking enormous, and Kanjuro's the same height. Anyway,
Kinemon's like 9 feet tall.
go to the next page as Raizo is shocked by what's happening, and Kinemon and Kanjuro and Momo all say hello in the cute reunion panel, and Raizo is tearing up. "Oh, it's all you guys. You're all well. And how are you guys doing?" And here we go with deep, important storytelling that I'm sure won't get cut off for any reason. Robin notices that above them is the Kozuki clan crest, and the stone, a red one, or that one that she's never seen as red as this, is a poneglyph indeed. And we learn that not only, is there a poneglyph there, but the crest, has been there. The crest on Birdman's helmet has been there for centuries, which is also an important and interesting note.
And it looks like it's wet. It looks like it's taken some abuse there. Part of it's rubbed off. It looks like the crest is a little worn down. Been there a long time. So
well, I mean, vines are just growing all in the inside of this whale tail. And
Didn't one of us mention that there's probably a poneglyph on Zo?
yeah, I think we all did. Yeah, I think that was. It was safe once we heard the word millennium, referring to how long it's been around.
Yeah.
And finally, Dogstorm mentions that he knows about Nico Robin, and he knows that she has deciphered. She's from Ohara and has deciphered these ruins. So we go to the next page. Bryan.
Yes. No, it's me.
Yeah.
And Robin asks very much because a red poneglyph is new to her. Apparently, she's like, "Why is it colored red?" He's like, "It has very different usage. Apparently, can you read it?" And then Robin goes, "Yes, may I?" And he goes, "Of course, because you're the only one who can." Back to the
no, I'm sure we're gonna hear more about that before the end of the chapter. Don't worry, guys.
Oh, obviously. I mean,
now go ahead.
All the information.
Let's take a small aside here.
Yeah, we'll be lucky if we get the full information of that in the next 50 chapters. So we back to the ninja and the boys. Raizo goes, "What is it with you people? Why do you stare at me so intently?" Because he's a giant baby. Are you really a ninja? What? How rude! And they're like, "These are the Straw Hat Pirates," says Kanjiro. And he's like, "Pirates?" And then, of course, in true kid fashion, like a bunch of fanboys, they go, "Hey, throw some shurikens for us. Hey, stand under a waterfall. Do some ninpo arts. Show us earth element technique. No fire, no water." It's just like, wow, that's a lot of requests. And he's like, "But why would pirates do such a thing?" "It ain't because we're pirates," chimes in Frankie. "Every man loves ninjas."
No, he has a dramatic pause there too. Like, every man
loves ninjas. It loves ninjas. I think Oda at this point is trying to kind of end the pirates versus ninja debate. Is even though we're pirates, we still love ninjas.
We are but men. We have weaknesses. Yeah. Women and ninjas.
Robots, obviously.
And robots.
Oh, yeah, robots. Can't forget about
sexy robot ninja girl.
Oh, no.
Oh.
That is my one weakness.
I know I've seen that before.
Yeah, it's Austin Powers.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then even Raizo is embarrassed by this. He starts to blush. And the Straw Hats keep asking more probing questions. Usopp wants to know if he's ever got down with a ninja woman.
That is not what he says.
Yes, he does.
He said, "Have you ever gone out? Have you ever gotten down with a
That's right.
female?"
That's how I read it too.
Yeah.
Translation there.
Hey, you're
Good
not
job,
going
Steven.
out right.
Good job, Steven. This chapter is rated TVMA, even though it is not a television show.
Get down, get down. But what does Luffy say? Luffy says, "Hey, you train your skills by jumping over bamboo stalks." and then Law's like, "Show me your doppelganger technique," because Law would be a fan of Naruto.
I like how he just whispers that under his breath. He's just like,
because it's too cool. He can't hide how much he wants to see ninjas, but it's too cool to seem like, oh, I care. Yeah. I totally don't want to see a doppelganger.
Because honestly, why is Law here? He heard there was a ninja and he had to accompany them.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I'm not sure what Zoro's going for. He wants him to get stabbed by a spear?
It's that he wants to show, I think. Well, Steven.
All right. So yeah, that's one of the kind of stereotypical ninja things is okay, they're hiding behind the ceiling because in traditional Japanese buildings, it's they'll have a straw ceiling and then you'll have the little attic space above it. And they're supposed to hide behind it. And it's sort of the stereotypical ninja story thing where they'll be okay, we have to see if there's any people listening in. So they take their spears and they just go through the ceiling points. And if you're a true ninja, you can take the spear to the guts and then you literally with your willpower wipe it clean as it pulls out without making a sound.
Wow.
And so Zoro's yeah, do that.
I wish you could have fit that all in a bubble, because that would have been much funnier.
Especially with him ending, yeah, do that. And so I think Chopper chimes in with hold the scroll in your mouth and say, "Nee, nee." And then Raizo's beyond fed up. He's like, "Nah, silence already. Don't push your stereotypes on me."
God, this voice.
Yeah, it's a mix between Kevin Hart and Chris Tucker from Fifth Element. Big baby.
Christ.
But But they're like, what? Ninja don't say Nini. Those ninja are a figment of your imagination. And then Usopp goes, then what makes you ninja? What makes you like a ninja with a figure like that? He's like, and he gets super depressed and goes, yes, a figure that has never won the points with the Konichi. Hey, don't bring that up. And then he has an instant reaction to how he just put himself down. And then Raizo lays it straight about what ninja are really about. Listen, a ninja is a master of the quiet, but strong heart, one who lives in the shadows, does not simply display his skills to others. Ninja are not about party tricks and nobody's fucking cares.
Bringing down the mood.
Bummer.
I love Usopp's face. He just looks so betrayed.
Luffy's too. Luffy.
They're mad. They're not just depressed. They're mad.
Yeah, because Oda perfectly sums up everyone's reaction to this character. He knew he was going to get this reaction to. He's like, look, I'm just going to head you guys off at the pass.
And Raizo, look at that last panel. He's like, I guess I should do something.
Yeah.
Miles, finish us off.
So he's going to help. His scaly arm comes out to display a ball, a bunch of whomps and kas. And then he says, Ninpo, smoke escape technique. And looking real ninja-like there, disappears, Dororon. And he disappears and everyone's freaking out, eyes out of their face. One Piece is amazing. I love you, One Piece. Then he shows up behind Usopp, of course. I am right here.
His face is as big as his whole
Look
body.
how big he is.
He wouldn't even have to work that hard to eat Usopp's face.
Oh God!
Look, there's not that much space, and we got that Dororon again, and here. What he multiplied? Could this be? And knowing Ninpo Shadow Clone Jutsu, everyone's excited. You want to know if I'm a ninja? Flower Shuriken, he cries. And I don't even know what's going on there, but they're all over the wall.
Yeah, he's
Shinobi,
basically he's hopping backwards, and then on his last jump, he throws a bunch of shurikens in that pattern design, which I guess spells out Shinobi.
Yeah, it's the kanji.
Yeah, he's doing a back handspring.
Nice. And then, of course, more eyes bulging, and he says, "I may be invisible to women, but I'm invincible as a ninja."
Christ,
Raizo of the Mist is upon the scene. Neen.
They love him. They love him.
He's such a hit.
And the fact that he was like, no, I'm not going to do it first. That only, I don't want to say, this is a PG-13 cast, but he makes it all the sweeter at the end.
Yes. The men love him. The women try and get away from him as quickly as possible. I love Law's fanboy moment there.
It's like, I'm too cool to be really excited.
He's like, I am.
I love it so much.
It's so good.
Too cool for school law, Captain Killjoy over here.
Did anyone think? I know this isn't our our most Simpsons heavy lineup here, but did anyone else think of Milhouse and his camouflage thing? Here I am. I'm here, or am I here? Over here.
Well, now I am.
Thought about that in a long time.
Now I am thinking about that. Thank you, Stephen. So that concludes the chapter. Why don't we start? Erin, what are your thoughts this week?
Oh boy, I mean, there is so much in this chapter this week. It's really hard to unpack it all. But it was a great chapter. It went by fast and then slow, I guess. I guess Oda understands women, and I'm just not that into Raizo, Only men love ninja. So that bit was kind of slow for me. But I thought it was really interesting because we were talking a while ago about how Raizo's honor could have allowed him to hide from Jack and his crew and let the minks fall for him. And it's kind of cool now we know why, because he was literally chained up and he didn't want it to happen that way. He wanted to give himself up. So I thought that was really cool. Yeah, otherwise it was just, man, it was really awesome. I can't even think straight yet.
Miles, what did you think?
So I really like the range of this chapter. We get all these pretty major plot points. We get the alliance. We find out Momonosuke's true identity.
We find out we get confirmation that Jack is alive. That's the first thing that happens.
Well, yeah, and yet just seeing Jack again, we haven't seen him like all that much ever, and we've just heard a lot about him. So seeing him even for just a brief like few panels is really cool. I don't know. We got the red poneglyph. Like this is so much happened in this chapter, and then I'm gonna walk away from it just thinking about Raizo and how dumb that whole last scene was and how much I loved it. Like we got all these major plot points, but nope, I'm just gonna remember Raizo from this chapter forever.
It's like an inverse chapter. Usually, you'd have all of the ridiculous stuff at the beginning and then the big reveals at the end. But it's the exact opposite. Any other thoughts, Miles? Or
I just this chapter is really indicative of why I love One Piece so much. In that was a lot of ups and downs for 21 pages, or not even
19, I think, right?
There was just a lot there. I really enjoyed it.
Brian?
19.
Yeah, I mean, the way this chapter kind of sums up in the end is that, remember, Luffy's our focal point for this whole series. Like, Luffy doesn't care about poneglyphs. He doesn't care about honor. He doesn't care about Momonosuke being like some lord's son. He's like, ninjas are cool. That's fucking awesome. And just like Erin said, there's so much information in this chapter. There's so much to unpack, and it's great that we came back from a break into something like this. Now we're like, this part of this run, we're getting to a really good and fun start. I mean, hopefully we get the information about the poneglyph next week, but if we just get more Raizo stuff, I'll be more than game.
No.
What, you don't like the big-headed weirdo?
I'll get to it at the end.
I love him. He represents other. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Stephen.
He represents all the dumb stuff. It's good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Gosh. I guess to touch on the Raizo thing, like I kind of had hoped. I guess part of me had either hoped or expected that he would actually be like a really cool looking character, but that, like, in retrospect, that was obviously like silly to assume that would be the way, just given that, like, not only just that, Oda doesn't really do things that way, like, the more you expect a certain thing, like the less, the more he will go out of his way to
he's been setting that up for us for a while.
Exactly. And but also just that, like we've been around Kinemon and Kanjuro, and they're both just total goofballs. So yeah, of course it makes perfect sense that that Raizo would be just like them. They're just like, they're three stooges basically. They're all kind of clown figures in their own way.
I think that makes Raizo Larry. He does have the hair.
Yeah, I wasn't really big on the hair. I guess I'm not won over by that yet. It does have Gadatsu's look already, which is, for such a striking look, like to immediately think of another character in One Piece was a little bit disappointing to me. But I love his proportions. His character is really funny, like particularly the panel with Usopp where, he's talking about his figure, and then he does what they call a nori tsukomi, which is where he goes along with the joke and then like yells at him, where he's like, yeah, no, I don't get many of the ladies. Like, why did you bring that up? It's a great classic. Those. Yeah,
I didn't know it had a term.
Yeah, that's the comedy term, and that's a very like Buggy like character trait. To kind of go along with the joke and then yell at it because he has a complex about his looks. So yeah, that's really exciting. Like I'm looking forward to seeing him interact with more people. But obviously, the poneglyph stuff, I think we all expected to get some kind of historical like background.
Not this chapter, Ed. He meant
well, maybe not in this chapter, but in this arc. Like it's not, so that did not disappoint. And I think particularly the fact that it's red, like I think knowing what we know about the poneglyphs, the idea that Oda would introduce another one, and he obviously he's done a lot of kind of breezing over them and just kind of skirting around the information or the importance of them in the past, but introducing a new element like this, that it's a red one, so it's different, it's special somehow. Like he cannot possibly just leave it at that. Like we're gonna find out.
Well, I mean, he did for this chapter. You're just saying that because you already know what happens.
No. I mean, yes, he said it's a different usage, but like he can't just leave it like that and not make it apparent why it is important. Why is it different?
This one is a list of groceries.
They also ask Robin, "Would you? Oh, can you read this?" And then that's directly into ninja jokes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that, like the way that he played that out, I feel like it's. I don't think it's going to be kind of the typical. We're too far along in the game, I think, for Oda to do the typical tease, because things are getting too important and to keep kind of hinting around the big picture stuff. So that is super exciting, obviously. And let's see, just going backwards here, the Momonosuke stuff. Yes, not. It's something that we had suspicions about. And I'm sure that will continue to play out as they explain, as I mentioned earlier, kind of like, why is it important that, why, what is it about Oda and what is it about the Kozuki clan that makes them in particular so important? Why are they aligned with the Minks, and why is it not a more general Wano thing? What is the distinction there? So that's exciting too.
And also, what happened to Lord Odin a few months ago that Momonosuke is feeling down about, and that the Straw Hat, being with the pirates, has lifted his spirits, because it only happened a few months ago, as Cat Viper says. We don't really know what he was talking about.
Well, it could explain why they were escaping from Wano in the first place.
I think that is he's referring to whatever happened a few months ago. That must be the reason that they were off, on Punk Hazard to begin with.
Yeah.
There's still a few pieces that we're missing to that storyline, but man, just an incredible amount of stuff that he pushed forward in one chapter without making it feel awkward or unnatural at all, which is super impressive. But
I'm trying to dig out the significance of the clan symbol. Like, it looks like some sort of crane, possibly, with a sun thingy on it. I'm not sure.
Ooh,
it also looks like it kind of looks like a Jolly Roger mark too, for sure.
Yeah.
Could be a phoenix.
Yeah. So that little sun symbol is the same symbol on Frankie's shirt.
Yeah, I noticed that.
I don't know. I don't think there's any more significance to that. Yeah.
Also,
good call.
I've been trying to book flights lately, and it looks just like Japan Airlines.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
Yeah.
So what do they call
something
that? Like
else?
target marketing?
Synergy.
Synergy. Corporate synergy.
Go.
Something else I want to note, one of the reasons why this chapter feels so full of information, yet also not rushed or awkward, like Stephen was saying, is that the Straw Hats largely take a back seat to this.
They're just reacting to everything, pretty much.
Yeah.
So by the way, it is a crane, and it looks exactly like the Japan Airlines. The one for Japan Airlines is a crane. It's a Surumaru. I'll keep reading to see if there's anything interesting about it.
It says right here, the red poneglyph means this.
Oh my god, it was in this Wikipedia about Japan Airlines this entire time.
Wow, thanks, Jal. One Piece Podcast sponsored by JAL.
I kind of suspect that Lord Odin is being held captive.
Odin!
Because Momonosuke speaks of his father, like, if he saw you acting like this, he would be very sad, which implies possibly that he's still alive. But I mean, it might be that he's dead, but I think it's more likely that he's alive based on the way that's phrased. But
here we go. In the creation of the logo, the person who created it was an American person, was inspired by the personal crest of samurai families. In a book he'd been given, We Japanese, he found pages of crests, including the crane. And he said,
title's racist.
Everything I say is racist today, isn't it? He said, I had faith that it was the perfect symbol for Japan Airlines. I found that the crane myth was all positive. It mates for life, loyalty, and it flies high for miles without tiring, strength. So loyalty and strength, I guess. All the mating for life sounds...
Well, cranes are pretty popular figures when it comes to, like, samurai stuff. You see it a lot in castles and on kimono. I was also thinking, like, with the, it kind of looks like crossbones on the crest.
Yeah.
But it also looks like the whale tail a little bit. And I'm wondering, like, are there more giant walking elephants in the ocean? And is there, like, one red poneglyph on each of them?
Well,
the 4 elephants with 4 whales, and in the tail of each of the 4 whales is a red poneglyph.
Yeah.
Oh, hopefully.
Ed, I think.
I mean, I pretty much gave my thoughts. I was just frustrated that, like, hey, here's a brand new red poneglyph. Let's learn about the world. Nope, ninja jokes for 4 pages.
Enough of that. Back on Raizo. So you think Raizo's design has...
Oh, you didn't actually have anything?
Yeah, so he's got that crescent moon cards into his head. I wonder if that has anything to do, like, with, I'm going to keep referencing Naruto, how, like, the traditional ninjas have those headbands, and they have, like, kind of like their family crest or anything. If that's, like, his permanent, like, adherence to whatever clan he's following.
Wasn't there a myth about herons in the moon?
Oh.
I need to add a new One Piece Connection article in a couple weeks. I have a feeling. I mean, I would venture a guess. Also, we heard a lot about the full moon, and it's lucky it's not a full moon. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe Raizo or this the what are we calling it now? I forgot the name of the freaking clan, and it's all we've been talking about this chapter. Kozuki. Or how did they say it in Baltimore?
Kozuki.
Yeah, that. I wouldn't be surprised if they were somehow tied into that. Also, I forget the amount of moons around the One Piece universe in that, the One Piece planet, in that Ohara. Yeah. But it looks like there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think there are like 7 or 8. I'm sorry, I'm like taking a venture guess for the one inside the crane. It's a circle with like 6 or 7 or 8 little circles around it. So I wouldn't. Maybe there's something related there. Am I looking too far into it? Yes, probably. I don't know. I could, if I sat here with it for longer, I could probably come up with a lot of really crazy theories with Bryan. But we have pieced together for that. So you guys want to get into that?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it.
This is the piece together where we need. Okay, that's all I got.
We need your questions.
Oh, that's much better.
Thank you, Ed.
Saved. So why don't we get started with some of your questions? First one comes from Hassan, who says, simple question. Do you think that the Straw Hats will ever go to space during their adventure?
Yes.
Yes. Gosh, I really hope so.
Mm-hmm. Space pirates, we've already seen them.
Yeah.
Only in their hearts.
Yeah. Space people exist.
That's just a general thing that Ed is saying. It has nothing to do with One Piece.
Out there.
Next one comes from James. And a nin te gosaru to you, to One Piece podcast. Today I have a question about animation. When it comes to One Piece, the anime has always been seen as a relative hit or miss property, mostly miss. And Miles, don't worry, he means in quality recently. The same mindset extends.
I should not worry about that.
Okay, maybe he should.
I'm worried about it every day, but I can't do anything.
Miles, why don't you get to Japan and fix it right now? He said that the same mindset extends to that of Dragon Ball Super in some circles, and he said he himself tends to have his own issues with Toei Productions, but over time has learned to live with it. What with them being kids show. What, Miles? Sorry.
That's just such a sad, he's learned to live with it. Go ahead.
No, I'm with you there too.
I'm passionate about the arts, man.
Yeah, me too.
Well, part of it is just the necessary evil of production. Yeah, other series where the runs aren't as long, if they only do 25, 26, 40 episodes, they can proportion out, the quality of the animation, the quality of the design and all that stuff a little more evenly because they're literally not running people into the ground. It's like, all right, you're only going to be working on this production for 9 months, so we have 9 months of a budget versus Dragon Ball, One Piece, or any long-running shonen show, which will just go on indefinitely. I don't know how they proportion their money per episode, but I can imagine just to keep that show going, they probably keep the cost down as much as possible.
And I think too, there's a difference, especially for big productions like that. Unlike, say, kind of how we're used to thinking about shows where like there's a lot of cost recouping through like physical sales and other kind of after the fact, like post broadcast methods. I don't think there are as many in Japan. It's not really like a big priority for them.
Yeah.
Just because of the way that,
not.
that people consume. And so, from that perspective, maybe like increasing the budget, it would not like improve what they're getting for their money, or how it wouldn't improve it in the ways that would be worth it from what they're looking at. So it's tough.
They work super hard over there. Like and just in comparison, if you would think of it, most shows in the States, you get seasons. So you work for a little bit and you have time off. They don't have seasons on like One Piece.
I mean,
it's like you just keep working.
They should.
Yeah.
I mean, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure to me is the perfect example of what a long-running anime how it should be handled. I mean,
breaks every year.
Yeah, breaks every year.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's not the best animation I've ever seen, but it's pretty damn good animation throughout. The pacing is great. It's fun. It's good. The show is also just very good in general. Yeah. But
I think going forward, that will become more the model just right now. And remember, One Piece started in like 97 when the industry was a lot. 99. Yeah, you're right. The series. Yeah, the anime was 99. That was a different era.
The other problem is there are two directions it could go in the future. Let's say they redo One Piece in a way. They could go that method, the JoJo's method, but I'm afraid the one that they're more likely to go, because they've already done it this way, is the Kai method. And that would hurt, I think.
Toei also did Sailor Moon, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, that's also not good.
No, but they did the remake of it. But.
Yeah.
It also has to do with the time slot and like maintaining their control on the time slot perpetually, which, if you were taking time off.
I remember when they first started doing that time slot, it was the Dream 9 Hour with Dragon Ball Kai.
Yep.
Yeah, I can tell you from experience on Teen Titans, that's another consideration, right, Stephen, was just Cartoon Network. I'll say it. Cartoon Network wants more and more episodes, which means we got less and less time in between, which means we kept running into season 2 would start immediately after season 1 when they haven't finished airing the first season. So it's like, what? We don't even know what those numbers look like. But they want us to keep producing, and they don't want any breaks in between because they just want to air it out just to maintain those numbers.
Well, I mean, it's work at least. You keep going to work.
I'm not complaining about the work, but I am complaining about when I don't get a vacation.
The other thing is the outcomes we're looking for. We're looking for a higher quality animation, but that's not really the outcome that Toei is looking for, even Shueisha is looking for. They're looking to provide One Piece to the largest possible audience.
Would they make more money if they did it any of the ways we suggested? We don't know.
Potentially, but at the point they're doing it, they are going towards just having the biggest audience watching, because the outcome they're looking for is not people buying discs. It's people being One Piece fans. So the more One Piece fans there are, the more money they make. And I mean, One Piece the anime does so well internationally. It's always in the top 10 animations in Japan's broadcast. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, they're getting the outcome they want of having the broadest possible One Piece audience.
It's a merchandising powerhouse.
Why change if everything you're doing is working for you? Mm-hmm. Because it's always in the top 5, I think. It's
all the time.
Yeah, and even at its... I don't think it's been below the top 5 since like Thriller Bark, and I could tell you the quality has dived pretty significantly since then.
Yeah, and I've always had like point issues with specific parts of One Piece, the anime, where I felt like it's not up to snuff to Oda's work, but I also understand that there's a lot more cooks and pots in the Toei animation kitchen than there is in...
I'm sorry, it's also for casual viewers. I mean, the one thing I learned from OPP Japan is we were going around to like Oda's schools as part of it, and they said, no, I don't read the manga, the teachers there, but I watch the anime. I'm a big fan of the anime, and I watch it, the kids watch the anime, and that's because it's just easier to follow. The manga for much younger kids and for older people who have jobs, Not us, obviously, but others. It's very difficult to follow for them, so they watch the anime.
The fact that like the first chunk of every episode is recap is actually a benefit to what the show is trying to do.
Yeah, it just is not. It's not fun on a marathon, and it's not fun for us who are super obsessed with the series.
Yeah, we know everything already. It's like, why are you telling us the same thing for the 40th time? I get it. Doflamingo's an asshole.
The movies are for us.
Yeah, the movies are for us. You're right. You're absolutely right.
And I'm okay with that model.
I wish they would make one more than every 3 years.
No, I'm happy with that because Oda's been involved with everyone since that pattern has started, and I think that's a good thing.
I agree, it's a good thing, but I feel like it could happen a little more frequently.
I think you're getting greedy here, Ed.
I think Oda should work more. Yeah,
I will be greedy.
Slacker.
I will be greedy.
If there's one thing you could say about Oda, is he's definitely a slacker.
I'm sorry, I'll get to work on Rick and Morty immediately.
Oh God, Bryan, I don't even know why you're here. You should be working on Rick and Morty season 3, coming eventually, in a year and a half or something. Scott has the next question. This has been the most exciting chapter in the Zou arc so far, with Raizo finally appearing. How many nods to Naruto do you think we will see throughout this arc? We've already seen a few, maybe an actual reference to Naruto himself.
I mean, his first thing was the Shadow Clone Jutsu. Like, I don't know what else you want. That's great for me.
Yeah, I think that's about it we'll get. I mean, the rest of it would just be like ninja tropes in general, not Naruto specifically.
I mean, they look and sound exactly the same as far as I could tell.
That would be great if they get Naruto's voice actor for Raizo.
They already had him for Sabo is the thing.
Wait, really?
Young
Really?
Sabo.
Yeah.
Young Sabo. Okay, yeah. Because older Sabo's Yamcha.
I was really hoping they'd
Amara.
keep... I mean, he's fantastic, don't get me wrong. I was just really hoping they'd keep Naruto's voice actor throughout, because I thought that would have been like Luffy's, although it would make a lot less sense with Sabo.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't make a ton of sense with Luffy. Okay, that's it for emails. Why we're all down to feast here. Why don't we, that was the quote that they put. Why don't we get into the One Piece podcast Reddit? Oh, you missed last week. That's what you did, Bryan.
We're getting SPS entrances now.
2 weeks ago. I'm sorry. That was 2 episodes ago. Yeah, that is an entrance.
No, the SPS style.
No, yeah, no, I know.
Okay, so Reddit, we have a ton of Reddit, and I'm going to apologize in advance that we're kind of culling down some of these. So there's a handful that I'm not going to ask. I know it's such a terrible problem. People like us too much; they want to ask too many questions, but we got to be able to finish this before the evening is over.
I'll never get over it.
Yeah. Keep it concise, guys. That's all I'm going to say. So first from Shy Guy, who says, hey, is it just me, or does Raizo look like the love child of Gedatsu and Wapol?
It's just you.
I don't know about the Wapol part. I mean, we definitely mentioned Gedatsu.
I can see it.
I can
see
see
the
it.
eyes.
Yeah.
That's all Gedatsu's child.
Well, whatever, I'll ship it.
Nice. All right. Next is from Kura Venice, who says, hey, guys, loved the Boobcast from 2 weeks ago. Always nice to hear new opinions. I hope they all come back on the show. Sooner the better. 2 questions. Do you feel the popularity of the podcast rises with the popularity of One Piece in the West, or just because the podcast spreads among the fan base? And also, what does Zach think of the moon on Raizo's forehead?
I feel like I have to address both of these.
Yeah.
The moon on his forehead obviously means that he's somehow connected to the ancient kingdom. Now, I'm sure there's something there. I think I speculated already.
Yeah, we were just speculating about that.
But as for the popularity of the podcast, I think it's more short term than that. I think definitely we're doing a lot better today than we were when we started. I think in general, the One Piece fan base has grown exponentially, I think is fair to say, since 2009.
I think the listenership reacts weekly.
That's what I was going to say. So when there's a good chapter, like if we get a big reveal with a poneglyph next week, our downloads will be fantastic next week. If a chapter is boring and terrible, we're just going to have, or an episode or whatever, it is, there's going to be less people listening. There's always there's always a core group of people, but it really does fluctuate depending on the chapter, actually. I personally think that we make crappy chapters a lot more fun. So for those who are like, I don't know if I like this chapter, I should listen to the One Piece podcast and find out cool stuff about it. So also arcs do that, because I think during the draggiest part of Dressrosa, we were doing okay.
Well, and also Fishman Island.
Fishman Island, I don't remember how good or bad
it was a while back.
Yeah, that's hard to remember.
People can listen for that one as like a catharsis. You guys like rant and rave about.
Yeah, we had a lull. I think it was in the early middle Dressrosa part. It was when I was gone though, so I don't know if it was my fault or Dressrosa's fault. All right, why don't we keep going?
Next is Prince Cheddar, who has some possibilities about this new poneglyph. So if this poneglyph is not made of the same stuff as the others, it might not be indestructible. This could mean it was made before the ancient kingdom invented or used the indestructible substance, before the conflict with the world government, or sometime after the ancient kingdom was destroyed by someone who could read and write the language but didn't have the technique to create the indestructible substance. So if it was made by someone after, the reason they chose to write it like a poneglyph might be symbolic. With the symbol above it, the Kozuki crest, it probably has something to do with Zo's connection to the family of Wano. We've seen their unbreakable loyalty, writing a pledge of loyalty in the manner of an indestructible text to show that the words are indestructible could be a possibility. Thoughts?
Yes.
No.
I like that idea.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I mean, it's a good theory.
I think it has to be also indestructible. I mean, it has been there for maybe a millennia also.
And
but if it is destructible, the fact that it still stands after a millennia actually makes, the bond deeper.
Yeah,
because they were able to protect
it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's lots of ways to look at it.
The fact that the Kozuki crest is like clearly linked to the poneglyph is very interesting. Like, because we've never seen anything that kind of specified about them before.
Well, Skypiea kind of had.
It's exciting because it takes us deeper into the heart of the One Piece world.
Mm-hmm.
This is I think going to be a big one, because the biggest poneglyph reveals we've had are with untouched kingdoms that have sought to protect them, and then the only two we've had are Skypiea and Fishman Island, actually. And all the faults with Fishman Island arc, I understand they exist, but one of the big things that did come out of it was some really big reveals with the Ancient Kingdom. Definitely Ancient weapons and ancient both. And it was, I'd say, the biggest reveal, certainly since Skypiea. So I think we have a potential of a really big picture movement in the next chapter or two. So I'm on the edge of my seat. I'll put it that way.
Well, I think Wano is going to give us a lot of information anyway, because they're one of the only country, I think, that is not affiliated with the world government.
At least
as far
that's
as like
out
a kingdom,
there.
Yeah.
Well, right.
Because there are places like Little Garden, and who knows what they belong to.
Right, the kind of like non-affiliated islands. But Wano seems to be like an actual kingdom with a hierarchy, completely separate from the world government. So I'm so excited to see what that's going to be like.
As long as Kaido doesn't have a complete grasp over it, which is also possible.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
which would explain why Odin left,
Or, well, we don't know what happened to him.
Odin!
He could still be there. I would say don't get your hopes up about discovering the secrets of this poneglyph next chapter.
I don't know. I'm optimistic. No, I hope so. Because they already delayed it half a chapter. If it's like
chapter,
I can't take it. I just heard about it and I can't wait any longer.
In like 8 chapters, they're going to come back. Oh, remember that poneglyph we talked about?
No, that was nothing. It was a cereal recipe. I don't even know why you need. I don't even know why you need.
Recipe?
I don't know why you need a recipe for cereal, but there you go.
Lucky Ninja Flakes.
They stored the ancient grains inside the poneglyph.
Nice.
It's made of the grains.
So our next is from Joy Joe Star, who says, "Hey OPP, I have finished the Alabasta arc, and I came out with one question. After experiencing this arc again, I realized there were Baroque Works agents we never met, such as Mr. Six and Miss Mother's Day. And since we know Crocodile and Daw's Bones are heading out to the New World, do you think they would form a new crew with the former Baroque Works agents that weren't captured, or would Crocodile just forget that failure and get new people?
I would say the latter is more typical of Crocodile, but I would like it if we actually get the reveal of those other missing Baroque Works officers.
Yeah.
But the Baroque Works, they weren't really attached by anything, were they?
Yeah,
They didn't even know what each other looked like. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't even know who Crocodile was, who Mr. Zero was.
Yeah.
And realistically, how strong were Baroque Works agents to begin with? Except for the very, very highest.
Yeah, it was a very mercenary relationship that they had.
Yeah,
And it was actually something that came up in the anime this week, as I was remembering the discussion we had about the differences between the Doflamingo family and Baroque Works as an organization, and the different leadership styles between the two warlords.
Yeah. What's next?
All right. Next from Azor Ash High has a good question, since we kind of skimmed over this too. What's next for Jack now that he's confirmed alive?
You see, that like kind of put this like dark cloud over the chapter for me. It's like, I think, okay, now we actually may have a villain for this arc. I have to assume he knows that Raizo is there. He's convinced. I think that was why, obviously, he went to those extremes. He didn't believe them for a second. I assume. So I wouldn't, elephants never forget. So that was a really cursory strand there. But I'm sure he will try and get back. The question is, will he be able to? And if he does, is he gonna just show up at the whale tail and start wrecking the place?
Yeah, he left specifically to go rescue Doflamingo, right?
Yes.
That wasn't just like by coincidence. Okay.
Correct. And also, if he goes in there in the whale tail, is he going to destroy the poneglyph? If it's destroyable, like you guys said.
But his obituary appeared in the newspaper, right?
Yeah.
That's because the government wants you to believe it.
Just
right,
like
that's what I
Moria.
was thinking.
Just like with Gecko Moria.
So would they have a reason to essentially let this guy run free? Because if he doesn't have a bounty anymore, I mean, nobody's going to be chasing after him.
That's a great point.
I don't know if there's any bounty hunters that could like go after the 1 billion berry bounty, but
maybe they were just mistaken. Maybe they thought he
I feel like that's wicked sloppy, and especially with Tsuru, like that's not her at all. Oh, now I'm scared for Tsuru. Oh God,
not Tsuru.
She's okay. She's okay. She's a tough old lady.
She's a bad biddy.
That's true.
Yeah,
bad old biddy.
And the other part of his question was, when do you think the Whitebeard Jr. card is going to get played? Which, for my opinion, I think that's not going to be this arc. I don't see a tangent to bring that in unless it's like a wild card that's going to like shake up.
I don't
and
care.
Give us to like move us to like the best possible.
I mean, I have my own question. What's going to be played first, the Burgess card or the Whitebeard Jr. card?
Yeah.
You mean the Burgess card on with Dragon?
Yeah.
Ooh, I would say the Burgess thing.
I think we'll hear about it, but not see it with Burgess. Yeah.
I hope that doesn't.
He's on the island. I mean, he's going to get found.
I'm hoping they just kick all their asses, and that's that. Blackbeard Crew's dead.
I would be a sad panda.
What's next, Steven?
Next, Dubiono says, "Hey, Steven, if you have translate powers, can your penis..." Oh, okay, all right. Nope, that's minimizing that.
That
privileges are
revoked.
Minimizing that.
Super Dubes says, "How's it going, OPP? Do you think that Jack was torturing the minks with intent to kill, or was he just trying to get a Raizo out of them?" Your privileges are revoked too.
Oh gosh! Don't ever write into here again.
I'm going to definitely steal that pun for everyone who is not in this conversation or listening to the podcast.
That's a
tweet
really
it.
good one.
Tweet it quickly before we release the episode.
As Crunchyroll. Once we get there.
Yeah.
He continues, sorry about the pun. Serious question now. With the anime episodes essentially being just a mixture of recaps and shocked facial expressions, would you guys prefer a filler arc after Dressrosa in the anime, or the anime going straight to Zoe and still doing one chapter per episode? It might work with Zoe considering there hasn't been a bad chapter yet, in my opinion.
I'd just assume they keep doing what they're doing because filler isn't going to be any more enjoyable.
And the problem, well, I mean, if they could put a good filler arc together, which they have done, just not very often.
That's a big if. Zach.
It's a big if. Then I'd rather them do that, obviously.
The last filler we had was between Punk Hazard and Dressrosa.
That was the worst filler.
Which one was that?
The Petto Petto.
The Petto Petto.
Oh, I never actually saw that, but I saw weird fan art of it all over Pixiv, and I was like, what the heck is going on here with this guy and his weird, like, S&M powers? I don't know. It was bizarre.
I still remember the time skip episodes, and I'm like, can we just have more of those? Like, we can even go back to the 2-year time skip.
Yeah.
Those were good.
Or Sanji in a dress.
You know who I really liked in the time skip episodes? I liked the Satan worshippers in books.
Those are great.
They were really good. I don't know.
I thought they were hamming it up a little.
Yeah, let's do just a whole arc with just those characters. That's all we're really asking for.
I think the real challenge, or one of the things that is making this extra difficult now, is that we've kind of, I think Oda has kind of fixed into stone like his publication schedule now, or Oda or Shueisha, or the combination of the two, in that he used to take very occasional breaks for health reasons or for his own circumstances, but now it's pretty much like on a schedule that every 4 or 5 issues or so he takes a break, and so that's just less material that he's producing, and the anime doesn't take a break unless there's an emergency or something.
Yeah,
so
and he's doing like 2 fewer pages than he used to as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think again, maybe they should just change how they do it, but I don't know if that's going to happen. Yeah. I think the One Piece anime could be something amazing.
And it's also, I mean, I've been thinking about my frustration with the anime lately, and I was frustrated with this content in the manga as well, so it's not surprising.
Yeah, that's the other thing, is I think when we complain most, it's when the manga had issues too.
Yeah, like back during Fishman Island was the last time, I think.
Once we get, like, I wasn't around for all of the Punk Hazard anime. I think you guys were kind of saying it was mediocre-ish, like it wasn't terrible.
It was fine.
No,
yeah. And I think when we get to Zoe, I think I'm really looking forward to that in the anime. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. I think there's a lot of unlike what's happening now in the anime, where literal seconds are clicking by, not as quickly as it should be.
Yeah, they should be in production of that right now, I would think.
Yeah.
We knew what we were getting into when we went to Dressrosa. We were going for war and like boss fights.
Yeah, I think with Zoe, I think they could go the 1 chapter an episode pace, and it'll be good. Mm-hmm. I think there's a lot to work with there. As long as you have good directors and good animators there, I'm not worried. So Bryan, we're going to be shipping you to Japan. You have a new job. Hate to tell you.
Oh Jesus! I'm gonna have to do this in between.
You're going to have a pay cut.
Yeah.
What's next, Steven?
Next from Scambala says, hey, OPP, started listening to the podcast about a month back, and I look forward to it with the same excitement as a new chapter.
Wow. Thank you.
Since this chapter was an obvious reference to Naruto, which characters in Naruto do you think the Straw Hats most resemble?
Oh, man.
It's a tough one.
Who
Law and Sasuke, I think. With the little I've read, that's an easy one, right?
Is it? Brooks like Jiraiya.
Oh, he's the old guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never really watched Naruto.
Yeah, me neither. That's the thing.
This really doesn't reflect well on us, does it?
I'm trying to. I forgot almost all the Naruto characters.
I think Luffy's like Naruto.
Yeah, that's what talking. Maybe I'm only because I love Rock Lee. Luffy, Rock Lee, maybe. But Luffy's doesn't care about effort. That's the thing. The moralities are way too different. Oh, Zoro's Rock Lee. There we go.
No, I don't know very much about Naruto, but I don't think Zoro is Rock Lee.
I mean, no, pre-time skip Zoro, I think, was. He's changed since.
He's changed.
Yes. He's become kind of a dick.
I guess that means Hancock would be Hina, right? Or what is that her name? The girl who has the crush on Naruto?
Yeah.
Oh, Hinata.
Yeah, that's right.
That's it.
Well, Nami would have to be Tsunade is the older woman who becomes Hokage later. She's a gambler, so money, I guess.
There you go. Yeah.
I apologize. That was pathetic on our part.
I've seen very little Naruto.
I'd have to do my homework on this, and even then, I probably wouldn't care.
Yeah, I don't want to do my homework on that. I'm going to be honest. And no knock on people who like Naruto. I'm just not a fan of it personally.
We're too old to be going back and watching those shows at this point.
Yeah,
Too old for this shit.
The entire show.
Now let's talk about One Piece.
Yeah.
Okay. Our next question is from Brock Levy, who has a quick question for me. I recently started a new job and have some disposable income. Congratulations. So I decided to start collecting the One Piece volumes. I got the 2 One Piece box sets and wanted to know if there is any information on a third box set. Thanks for all you guys do and love listening to you every week.
Yes, Steven, is there any information on that third box set I can
Well,
buy?
I don't work at Viz, so I don't know what kind of sales ideas that they come up with.
How many volumes were in each box, Brian?
The first one goes all the way to volume 24. It ends Alabasta, and then the second set I think ends after Enies Lobby.
Yeah, they're substantial.
So they're. I don't camp out in the Viz office, so I don't know these things. But
Ask the Shonen Jump podcast.
But they've been doing 23 volumes, and we have more than 69 volumes already out in English. And given that they did one of these things, which is crazy enough, and then decided to do another, I think they probably will do a third one. I don't know that they are doing these things. You can't see my hands here.
I can't. So, I have actually no idea what you're doing with your hands.
I'm doing ninja jutsu things.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, as another fan who collects those, I can posit that they'll let the individual volumes get out in publication a bit more before they release a third box. So they won't be like right on top of each other, but maybe in like another 2 or 3 years.
Unless Steven works his ninjutsu harder, so we'll see. But also, Brian, I got to go to your office and you had that box sitting right on your desk. And do you want to tell people what you use it for, though? I think it's cool.
Oh, I kind of had it as like a guard for my computer. I set it up with other books. Is that
yeah?
What
But who? No, like who do you? What do you use it? You give it to? Stop it.
Oh, I give it to people to borrow so that they can read One Piece.
Yeah, there you go.
Of course. Yeah,
it's a good reason to have it.
There you
so
go.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's
buy
because,
doubles is what I'm saying.
Yeah, you could carry it. It's nice. It's got extra shit. Okay, what's next?
Next is from Amiibo Hunter, who says, Zach, oh my God, poneglyphs. Zach, oh my God, a red poneglyph. What could it mean? Zach, oh my God, Raizo has a moon on his forehead. What could it mean? Awesome chapter and awesome job as always, OPP.
I think he was really saying, "Oh my God."
No, it's the double rainbow of poneglyphs.
Accurate. I've mentioned this enough. I'll mention it hopefully more in the next week or two. Hopefully, Bryan.
I get you.
Because Brian's the one who's like, no, I don't think we're gonna see it in the next couple months.
Hey, I'm just being a realist.
I don't like it.
Our next is from Ulashed Love, who says, now that Raizo is in the manga and we can put a face to the name, assuming that you can do a celebrity casting, who would be an English voice actor? He was thinking Danny DeVito or James Woods.
I like DeVito.
Bobcat Goldthwait.
Jim Carrey.
I told you guys I always thought Fukuro was going to be Bobcat Goldthwait. This is like way before the anime even got there.
Oh boy.
I love Bob Scratch Goldfarb.
Yeah, me too.
Okay.
Starfell says, hey guys, love the podcast. If each one of you had infinite time and energy, what kind of different podcast would you make aside from the current ones?
You guys should probably answer this because I try every other one and I fail.
I always had like a very loose idea in the back of my mind that I would just do just a general manga related podcast, but it would be entirely a one man show. Like it would basically be sort of like blog post style where I would just pick a series and then just talk about it. And until I ran out of stuff to talk about. But it's not going to happen, but that was something that I thought would be kind of cool to do.
I could produce
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You already got a producer and a listener. You're ready to go.
basically a podcast already.
Yeah, I don't know. I could talk about Batman the Animated Series all day.
Unfortunately, there is already that. I think there's several of those already.
Yeah, that's the thing about being. That's the thing about why the One Piece podcast has gone on for so long, because nobody was doing it before we did it.
Yeah.
I would probably do a podcast of all the classic games that I'm just discovering now that I'm like 27 years old. Like all these games that everybody's already played and they're like, wow, this is awesome. And the hype has totally died down. I'd be like, wow, guys, have you heard of Chrono Cross or Chrono Trigger?
Oh my God. And my cousin's playing through Trigger right now.
Oh, no way. I always love introducing that game to people.
That experience is like what going to MagFest is like.
Yeah, that was my experience. Like, what is a video game?
Oh my God.
Miles, what about you?
So this is like, I have a podcast in mind that I'm trying to work on. I just never am home when the co-hosts I want to have are like awake. So
okay, we'll keep that under the hood.
Yeah. I'm planning on making it, so I don't want to spoil too much.
For me, outside the nerd world, I've always wanted to do a politics one, or like a nerd/politics one. Miles, let's do that together.
If you do a Supreme Court podcast, I'm considering starting a solo Supreme Court podcast.
Oh, I want to do that.
Yeah, we haven't even really talked about Scalia yet.
Yeah, well, with this election, I could rant and rave all day. I'm sure Bryan could join me.
And that's the problem, though, because when you're too general in politics, you just end up ranting because there's something to complain about every day.
We'll be the Drumpf cast.
It'll make your head spin.
Good. Yeah. Actually, no. Get on that right now.
The Drumpf cast?
If you put out the first episode this week, you'll get featured on the next episode of Last Week Tonight.
I've got to get on it.
Yeah, sorry, Zach. The top 10 on iTunes is all Drumpf cast.
Damn it. It's just like The Walking Dead all over again. Damn the podcast awards. We went against 5 Walking Dead podcasts. And then the year before, we went up against 3 Harry Potter podcasts.
No, in that instance, it is actually an honor to just be nominated.
Yeah. We're the only non-Walking Dead podcast in our category.
That should be the category.
So the best Walking Dead cast goes to. Okay, what's next, Stephen?
Next, Mud Runner. This is actually a really good comment. I was going through the chapter this week, and I couldn't help but think of a certain character introduced in the Impel Down arc when Raizo of the Mist was introduced. Do you think there could be any relation between Raizo of the Mist and Shiryu of the Rain? The names, at least the suffixes, I'm basically the furthest thing from fluent in Japanese, seem very similar. Could Shiryu be from Wano?
Yeah.
Could this be foreshadowing a fight between the two down the line?
This is actually something I actually picked up a while ago. When Kinemon was introduced, he's of the Foxfire. Shiryu is also a giant man, but most of Blackbeard's crew are like big people. So it also kind of follow in the same vein that if all the people from Impel Down, like Hanyaba, Magellan, were all like, the world government basically said, hey, you guys are authority figures in your own world. How about you come to Impel Down and like we'll set you up with a job where you can put your skills to use. I wouldn't put it past Oda to draw that parallel and that connection. Because why else would like Shiryu have that subtitle of the rain outside
and have a
that
sword?
People bleed. Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't. I mean, he in his, at least in the way he dresses, he doesn't look like that style. But that doesn't necessarily mean anything. He could still be from there, and he
was wearing a uniform.
Yeah, it was his job.
I mean, although Hannibal shows that and Sadi really, there's if you're important in Impel Down, you don't have to wear a uniform.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But I would also like to point out, Oda himself in his like little caption things that he does, he spelled it this weird way with the Shiliew, but that was after he was already introduced, and in the katakana it just looks like Shiryu, which I think we still use with Viz because that's what they started with, and they just kept the continuity. But that is a that's not, it doesn't sound like a foreign name being represented in Japanese. It could be a Japanese name. So you can't necessarily rule it out based on that. So that's interesting to me.
Okay.
Next, from Straw Hat Cyclist asks, do you think Raizo would be too embarrassed to eat a Whopper from Burger King? Because, well, he's got these tiny hands, and if he was holding a Whopper, it'd just make them look even smaller. Seriously, his hands look so small in the panel where Law asks to see a clone jutsu.
I recall a presidential candidate with small hands.
Yeah, he is a short-fingered Bulgarian.
Raizo, his mouth is big enough to eat the Whopper in one bite. So he doesn't have to keep control of it for very long.
Was this person like a representative from Burger King? This is great advertising.
I think that was the Burger King campaign a while ago, like a few years ago, where like a guy has super tiny hands or something like that.
That does sound familiar.
You're totally right.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Next from Pokachap says, with so much revealed this week, there is so much to talk about. But what about the voice?
Oh yeah, we forgot to talk about that.
It's been brought up again. Do you think that Dogstorm and Cat Viper were referring to Shanks, since we already heard how they know of him, or Roger? I personally think Roger, since we know he could hear the voice of all things, and Luffy seems to be following Roger's steps more than Shanks from what we can tell. I think it's Roger too, because you know the Poneglyph thing too.
Yeah,
agreed.
And they make reference to them being quite old, and people are surprised that they are alive. So, I think,
especially since they're a dog and a cat. I mean, they don't live as long.
And they're making it clear that they're very old, so they would have been around back when Roger was there.
Big dogs don't live very long.
No.
Yeah, they also never said how they know Shanks. Maybe they knew Shanks on Roger's crew.
Yeah, that's it. That is a good point.
Mm-hmm.
Although I think never mind. Keep going on.
White Bear Beppo has a comment. You'll have to go look for the Reddit thread to see this link here. There's a picture. He says he did not find this detail, but someone found a crest resembling that of the Kozuki clan on Zoro's clothing during the cross-epic DBZ and OP manga crossover. Although I think since we kind of talked about the
they're very common symbols.
Yeah, kind of ubiquitous Japanese symbology. So that may not be notable in a story sense, I guess. But it is interesting. Next is from Stevo Hump 85, who says, as a general comment, I'm always amazed at the emotional impact that One Piece has on us. This podcast really helps to voice our emotions as a community. Personally, I choke up at just the thought of Nami telling Luffy Robin did it to save us at Water 7. As a question, has any moments from this arc hit us emotionally? Also, I wanted to tell Jonathan, the guy that Zach read the letter from, to hang in there. Thanks for all we do for the community.
Well, I definitely think the moment the Minx revealed that Raizo was alive all along was definitely the moment that got me the most of this arc.
Yeah. I know it hit most of us in the Cat Dog podcast episode, because that's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like that too, not just because of the it was a kind of enigmatic way that he told it, where I loved the contrast of how torn up Usopp was about it. He was just horrified that they would have gone to these lengths, and contrasted with these very placid, happy reactions from all the Minks, where they're just kind of just standing around silently, yeah, that's what we did. And that struck me in a very kind of surprising way that I didn't expect. I would say that's been kind of a highlight moment from an emotional standpoint.
We've been forgetting about Sanji, but Sanji leaving, I think, was
not
emotional, sad, but it was emotional. It was
what is going on?
When he turns and he gives that smile and he's like, tell everyone that I'll definitely come back or something like that.
Tell everyone I'm cool. Sanji's cool.
Sanji's way cool. But yeah, that actually did hit me pretty hard because we just haven't seen Sanji so much, and I do like him very much as a character.
Keep us going.
All right. Last from Reddit is Cabbage Dish, who says, first off, thanks for all the hard work and the amazing content we put out in 2015. I love the podcast and can't wait for it to come out each week. Would you guys consider doing a small history segment on feudal Japan? Maybe go over some possible parallels to look out for between Wano and feudal Japan. Also, Ed, my porn name is Buster Laurel. Did you also have another cat named Babs?
No.
He's allergic to cats. Concerning the feudal Japan segment, first off, if we did do that, it would be during the Wano arc. I would just say that right now. We're not going to do that before the Wano arc. I mean, I know there's a lot of feudal Japan stuff going on now, but second off, is this podcast not long enough for you guys? Like, let's be serious here.
It strikes me as the kind of thing that would be easier just, okay, if something happens where it's like, we can already tell that like Wano is going to be chock full of like all kinds of, crazy nods to old timey Japan that Oda has been wanting to do. We know that he has a strong interest in old fashioned style topics. He loves the kabuki, he loves the rakugo stuff. And, so I'm sure there will be no lack of stuff to mention, like going through the manga recaps. I don't know if it's going to be the kind of thing where we can easily like predict what things to talk about.
Well, this is why I want on Greg on more too, because I know he's very immersed in this kind of stuff as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, if it turns out like this week where I asked like 10 questions on one panel, maybe we will have to do that.
I don't know.
Yeah,
we'll just have to see kind of when the arc comes around. How deep is Oda going to go with this stuff? How necessary will it be to augment your understanding?
We could always have somebody write a super cool editorial.
I like that. I think that's probably the best way to supplement it. We do have a whole website.
Make Chow do it.
Yeah.
Delegation section.
He's our best read.
Go Chow, go right away. Chow, was the person I was thinking of going through most of this, because this is like what he does. This is his bread and butter. So I think he'd be very good at it. If there is someone who'd like to write with us who has like a really good knowledge of feudal Japan and doesn't mind sitting on that until we get to Wano, please let us know. We'd love to have you occasionally on board to do that. So I think that's it for Reddit, right?
That is it.
Miles and Bryan, did you guys have to go as well? I want to.
I probably should get out of here. Yeah.
Okay.
Ditto.
So I'll do a mini round off, Miles. Before we get to Twitter and stuff, where could people find you?
So if you want to make fun of my One Piece opinions, you can reach me on Twitter at MilesExpress39. That's MilesExpress999.
9? No, just 3 of them.
You mean Herman King's plan?
Oh no, it's a reference to Galaxy Express 39, which is a 1970s anime that some people have seen.
Yes.
Oh yeah, Galaxy Express is awesome. Battleship Yamato.
And look forward to our Supreme Court podcast coming soon.
I'm serious about that. If you want to, I've got tons of research ready to go.
Yeah, I'm sure Ed would be aboard if.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because you got 2 lawyers here if you need them.
I just pretend to be one.
Yeah, that's fine. But we're up for it. And Bryan, where can people find you?
You can find me on Dark King Zoro on Twitter, all one word, and Banendorf on DeviantArt to look at really old stuff I haven't posted or done anything with in a while, and watch episodes of Teen Titans Go. I've directed a couple of them, and Rick and Morty if you haven't seen it yet. Season 3.
Who hasn't seen it now?
Then you'd be surprised. Season 3 is coming.
Yeah.
That's it for me.
Looking forward to that in 2024. No, kidding. No, I'm really excited for that. And Teen Titans Go as well. So thank you too. And check out Crunchyroll if you haven't. Literally every episode of One Piece is on there, and then some in HD, as we mentioned, and also all the specials and most of the specials. All the specials?
Most of the specials. We're missing we have the Toriko one,
specials?
but not the Dragon Ball one, I think.
Okay. Pretty good though. That's you have a great collection there. So thank you, Miles, and thank you, Bryan.
Thank you.
And as they head off, Ed, why don't we focus on some
Piece the Tweet? Yeah.
It's time for Piece the Tweet. Twitter questions, Twitter comments, Twitter neen. We
That's right.
need all your questions. That was the stupid pun.
We need your questions. First one comes from King Luffy 1. Will you guys bring back Grand Line Gaming for at least one episode when Burning Blood releases? I know actually that William and Cody have been doing some video game streams lately. I don't.
Mhm.
I think Jason was the one who used the Grand Line Gaming thing back in the day.
Yeah, that was Jason and me. And I don't know. It's really hard for me to fit stuff like that into my schedule now. I believe he did mention that to me because he is going to get the game. So I guess we'll see about that, but I wouldn't cross your fingers or hold your breath or anything. So
William, you could also ask though. He has been
Yeah.
using the Twitch TV account.
Ask William on Twitter. He's on there a lot.
Yeah, G Hennequin.
yes.
I can't pronounce his name. I apologize.
You can find him through the podcast page.
William is now making fun of me via Twitter as he's listening to this. I know exactly what's happening. See you, William. What's the next question?
Next one comes from Arnavs19953. Who do you find the most intimidating villain in One Piece and why?
Intimidating.
I mean, I recently had a legit nightmare about Doflamingo, so I guess that's my subconscious trying to tell me something.
Wait, did the nightmare take forever and never go away?
Ouch. Oh, man.
Yeah, that one's gotta hurt, right?
I don't know. Caesar was actually very, very intimidating before he, showed his personality. Doflamingo is probably the right answer.
Crocodile, I think, was the most legitimately terrifying reading through it. I mean, he was the first person to put like a mortal wound through Luffy.
Yeah.
It's One Piece, so none of the characters look truly terrifying to me. I think I could say.
Oh, Kaido's actually pretty terrifying.
But we haven't really like seen him in his full.
Yeah.
Big Mom might be terrifying in a very different way.
Yeah.
She does eat people, as far as we could tell.
I think Kuma is also kind of, maybe not terrifying, but just like disconcerting.
Yeah.
Well, the question was intimidating, so I think he is a quiet presence.
Well, there are certainly villains that when they show up, you're like, shit.
Yeah.
I think Akainu is a pretty good one.
I think that's a great example of someone who,
because kind of like the more as a villain kind of gets his entire story told, like Ed mentioned with Caesar, at some point you get the sort of softening of their character. There's always some kind of goofy either angle to their personality, or like after their arc is over, they get reintroduced or re-mentioned in some way that kind of makes them seem a little sillier. And I think
free.
Yeah, like Akainu is one who hasn't really had. I mean, I guess you could say like him kind of getting stuck in the bureaucratic machine of the Five Elder Stars and like complaining about stuff is a bit of that, but he hasn't really been goofy or frivolous in any way.
Well, Arlong too. I don't want to pass him up. I know for a lot of people, I think myself including at the time, definitely.
But Arlong had a silly hat. I mean, you can't take that seriously.
You're right. Aaron's right. I don't know what I was thinking.
All right. Next question comes from Ice Rider 50. What songs do you see the Straw Hats singing if they were at a karaoke bar, and who would sing Bohemian Rhapsody?
Frankie.
You think? Yeah.
Or Brooke.
Brooke, yeah, too. Maybe, yeah.
All those singers
Dude would
good.
be better equipped for that one.
I feel like Dude would be booing them for being predictable. Like he hates Bohemian Rhapsody as a karaoke song.
But he sang it.
Tries it.
But he did it at MagFest. I know he sang Bohemian Rhapsody for like Rock Band or something.
He was probably just full of inner self-loathing the
or
entire
alcohol.
time. Yeah,
All right, let's just move on from that one then. Huntress fan asks, what do you think of the idea of having 4 kids One Piece voice actors reprise their roles, but this time as the fake Straw Hats?
I love it.
That's pretty good.
That's really the only acceptable place for them to come back.
Yeah, and you know what? If they want to rectify themselves as actors, they need to.
Wouldn't that be amazing? Like, just not the actors themselves, but if Funimation, like, they just had like the Sanji guy do a really, really crazy Brooklyn accent or something.
Oh my god!
I actually got to. I guess I could say this. I met Chopper's voice actress at one of the conventions I saw. We were at a function. She was super nice, and I asked her if she wanted to come on the show, but I don't think she would. I don't want to.
Oh, you mean the 4Kids?
The 4Kids.
I was
chopper.
like, why didn't you just say
Brina? She wasn't like the problem with that. It was that they also had 3 other Chopper voice actors. Like when he became Monster Chopper, they changed his voice actor. I don't know if people remember that. A lot of the problems were not in the voice actors; they were in the direction and the writing,
and the music,
and yes. The editing. So Steve and I was talking about 4Kids. Steve was here last week, as you may know, and we watched the Drum Island arc. We watched the flashback in the anime, the dub of the Drum Island Hero Luke flashback, which is incredibly moving, and I was crying as I always would, watching that. And then we watched the 4Kids version of it, and it's so wrong. It's if you
have
haven't
changed man now.
It's the whole thing is like what's important is how a person is remembered. That's how a person truly dies when he's forgotten. None of that's in it. The explosion they cut it out because that would be wrong for kids. It's just watch it on YouTube. It's on there somewhere. It's awful. It's truly awful. But getting back to the question, I think that would be really cool. The other option that I also think would be cool is that the actors do what the ones in Japan did and voice each other's characters. So I guess you get Eric Vale voicing Luffy again. Ha! He got beaten. He's dead now. That's something only you and me and 2 other people, Ed.
It's the test dub. Come on.
Yeah, I know. We had an episode about that way back. Anyway.
All right, Magic Otters asks, hey, y'all, back with a very important question. Fuck, marry, kill, Big Mom, Kaido, and Blackbeard.
Oh, man.
Oh, boy.
I think I would die in all 3 circumstances. If I tried to kill any of them, I would die.
Kill Kaido. That's what he wants.
That's what he wants. Yeah. That's true.
I guess you gotta marry Blackbeard.
You're so selfless, though. Just because you want it, isn't it?
I don't know. Blackbeard, he seems like kind of a swarthy dude. He's been around. He could, he'd probably be pretty good in the sack.
Yeah, well, he's got a black hole. He's got a lot of suction there. And then all we really know about Big Mom is she likes marrying people. So there you go.
There you go.
I think you just did it.
We've cracked the case.
We've cracked the case. I'm gonna go vomit into a bucket now.
No, we're keep it classy. Moving right along. Javuz asks, "Do you think Capone has a cannon penis? Gun penis? Cannonballs? If he was a submarine, would he be filled with semen?"
Wait, so this presupposes that he has little guys hanging out in his urethra or something.
They gotta hang out everywhere.
It's the second Miles and Bryan left. It's just took a dive. It just is like, we could ask ridiculous questions now.
We're at this stage of the piece together.
It happens every time. It's like, we're overtired, and for some reason, people understood that this is the part where they can ask us these questions. To answer his question, though, yes.
Yeah.
Nine Claw Tiger asks, had my heart set on Raizo being a walking Naruto homage, but the boys being unrepentant Naruto fanboys is a good alternative. Yeah, it's not really a question, but okay.
It's a comment, yeah.
Yeah. Chad Ricky asks, which volume of Dressrosa has the best content and which has the worst content?
Ooh, I like that question. That's a tough question.
I mean, they haven't all come out in English yet, so I haven't actually read them in volume form.
Yeah, I haven't read 80 yet, but it's probably the best content of Dressrosa is the end. And the beginning.
Yeah, I would say the first volume for me would be the best one. Just in terms of how exciting it was. Maybe that one or whichever one has the green bit stuff.
I was going to say 73, I think. Yeah.
The 3-way showdown. The worst would probably be the
75, maybe
77, 78.
Yeah, 76. Around where it's okay, we're in the birdcage and we're just fighting Queen Auric and Gladius and that stuff. This is just where it drags.
Yeah, I think we just have passed all those really terrible volumes, and they still did very well. So,
Yeah.
What's next?
Next question comes from Orawane. Jack has a Viva card for Raizo. Explains his insistence and ability to bind Zo. Thoughts on how? I think that's their theory. I don't know that we've seen if he has one.
Yeah.
I don't think that he does because he was. I mean, maybe it's just my interpretation, but like when we first got those scenes where he's like, Raizo's here, he's supposed to be here. It seemed like, he got word about Raizo being there, which could be anything. It doesn't have to be, Beaver Card related. But it seemed like he was kind of enjoying that excuse as a reason to continue like torturing them. Kind of, he seems very sadistic or he's very single-minded in his like pursuit of.
I feel like he probably also had some pretty good evidence he was there, though.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a combo.
Yeah, well, I mean, we know now that like Momonosuke, that whole thing, the whole Kozuki thing is Wano related, and it all kind of fits together. So you would assume that. Yeah, they know that the minks are related to Raizo, so
I'm pretty convinced that Kaido is on Wano. I think we've talked about this several times before.
Yeah.
What's next?
Do you think there were any hints in this episode? This is from Thaitan 11. Seems like we're being hinted to Momo having King's disposition. And do you think another man is Roger? I don't think there was any hint of
not King's. It would be observation hockey, if anything.
Yeah, I don't think he does. I mean, I don't think there was any hint of it in this episode either. They were just heeding his words because, he's a lord.
I guess the other question is, do you think that, like, Roger's, hearing the voice of all things, do you think that actually is observation hockey? Is that just what he called it, or is that something different altogether?
I think it's something different altogether. Because he was able to write on the in poneglyph language.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And is that different from what the little girl on Skypiea, Isa?
No, that I think was
observation hockey.
Yeah, I think was observation hockey.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is where things get confusing.
Next one comes from Malicious Hat. You've been turned into minks.
Come on.
Yeah. Which animal are you?
If we've been turned into minks, which animal are we?
I think a couple of us did this.
Yeah, I don't know. Erin, did you do this one?
No, but I had a friend who could purportedly tell you your spirit animal, and she could never really guess mine. So I don't really know what mink I would be. I mean, I like to sleep a lot, so probably like a sloth or something.
I was a panda when we did this last time.
Yeah, we all chose each other's. I was something not flattering. I don't remember.
Well, you can pick your own then, man.
No, I don't remember what I am.
I feel like I need to see. I need to see Zootopia before I can choose. If I need ideas.
I don't know. What do you guys think I am? I forgot what
Platypus.
I was. Okay, that's way less flattering. It's way less flattering. Right, let's see how
flattering.
Oh my god.
The next one comes from Ricardo Rodriguez. All this moon talk. I wonder what Eneru is doing up there. What are your guesses?
Don't tempt me.
And you know what? If it wasn't for that stupid face, Eneru would be my most intimidating villain.
He was just crazy.
Yeah, that's pretty intimidating.
Yeah.
Yeah. Something intimidating about a psychopath. But he ended up being correct, which is he's the conspiracy theorist who was right. It happens once in a blue moon.
Okay. Dark Leviathan 8 asks, twisting the knife with bullets shirt, please. Suggestions for a new One Piece podcast.
When did we say that? I remember
it was
Doflamingo,
I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think we were. Yeah, now he's twisting the knife in with bullets. I'll look into it. I think we're gonna do some new shirts midway through the year. So if you have ideas for shirts, please let us know. We will take it under consideration.
Cool. All right. Pongzilla asks, is there a reason Gadatsu and Raizo have similar hairstyles, or is it just coincidence, you think?
Zach, maybe the hair is supposed to be like wings because he's from the moon.
I thought it was lightning related because I mean Raizo's name isn't that lightning related too?
True.
And Gadatsu was, I mean, related to Eneru in a way. So maybe.
we're at
6 degrees of separation. I don't know anymore.
We're at Miss Buckin levels of speculation here.
Yeah.
Isn't Ms. Buckins actually just Lola and Bellamy's skin?
I don't know. I think that hairstyle is a
Not
little more
Bellamy's.
indicative of genetics than than the color.
Maybe they are brothers.
All right, next
The
one.
Gadatsu Raizo brothers.
Next one comes from 91 Ryan. Crazy theory. Madame Charlie predicts that Dressrosa will be destroyed by someone with pink hair. Then we cut to Bonnie, literally eating the island because she thought it was pizza after seeing it from the air.
Somehow not the craziest Bonnie theory we've ever heard.
Nope.
Yeah, she's not like Schrodinger's cat or something. It's not like every theory is valid until proven unvalid, until observed. Yeah, there has to be a limit to these guys, please.
Afro Lobster asks, any chance of a Dude and Zach's Dance Carnival segment on the One Piece remix albums coming out soon?
It depends if they're good or not. Like if they're exceptionally bad or exceptionally good. I think.
If Dude's motivated to do them, I think it'll happen.
Exactly. So if they're one way or the other, I think he'll be more motivated, especially if they're good. So yeah, let's find out. I'm personally kind of apprehensive. I know very little about it so far though. So I like the art. I think it's cool, but that's just about it.
Next one comes from Dr. Valkyrie. Do you think Jinbei has a chance to show up in the Big Mom arc, helping Sanji out and finally joining the crew?
Sure.
I feel like I've got to be the only person in the world who doesn't want Jinbei to join the crew.
No, you're just the only person here.
Oh.
No, I've never been super up on Jinbei, and like the longer that it goes without him actually joining the crew, like the more I feel like he's reached honorary like VV status, but
like kind of like the Grand Fleet status, but a little higher than that.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
Yeah, I'm still not sold entirely on him, but there's still a very good chance, I think. And Big Mom would definitely be a valid, I think, point for him to show up.
I like Jinbei. I want more Jinbei.
I like him too. It's just I'm really holding out for another girl, and I can't have him taking her place.
Well, unless he runs into Ivankov, and then
there we go.
Then we're good to go. And then Ed, can you do the female impression of Jinbei?
Luffy-kun.
So hot.
What were you expecting?
I'm imagining Jinbei, but with like two perfectly spherical breasts, like just like popped onto the front of him.
No, they just sliced the basketball in half. Last one. Straw Hat Cyclist writes in to say, just checking in as one of the fans that actually enjoy your jokes, Zach. There are literally dozens of us. Dozens.
I don't even believe that. Well, I mean, Erin, you saw the survey, right? I mean,
I did see the survey.
There were a lot.
People are hungry for jokes.
Well, I've got a few maybe at some point.
You're as good as the jokes as Tobias is at being an actor.
That's for sure. Yes. That's all the piece of tweet.
That's it.
All right. So why don't we round this thing off? You guys ready?
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
This has been episode 408 for Leap Day, February 29th, 2016. We will not have another Leap Day podcast until the year 2044. So we'll probably be in the next arc by that point.
Unless we change the day we record on, right?
I think that's more possible, actually.
We'll all be in our 50s by then.
Yeah, and I guarantee you...
Yeah.
50s.
Some of us will be on Social Security by that point. But I think we will all be viable for AARP at that point, and we will all be doing this podcast at that point. Maybe. I don't know if that's true. Anyway, no, thank you guys. This is a great episode. I do want to thank Miles. If you haven't checked out One Piece on Crunchyroll, please check that out. And you can check him out on Twitter, Miles Express. 999. It's just 999, right? And it's Galaxy Express, so Miles Express. And Bryan is Dark King Zoro. Check both of them out if you haven't. Huge thanks for them coming on. We'll talk a little bit more about what we're doing next week soon. I want to remind people that the plan is right now to be at Anime Boston. That's the last weekend in March. I think it's like the 26th and 27th. And we'll give you more information about that as it comes about. It's still somewhat tentative, so if I say no, it's not happening, don't get too angry about it. I'm trusting you guys with this information, everyone. Many thousand of you. And we're also still looking for a merch reporter, so please let us know about that. Also following up on last week, over the next few months, we're going to be putting together a One Piece zine. So for anyone interested in doing anything for that, artists particularly, please email us. OnePieceZine should be in the subject header, and tell us if you're an artist, tell us we're gonna have a different artist draw an arc for each arc, and we're still looking for submissions. So please list your top 3 arcs, and we'll fit you in where we can, presuming it's not super crowded. So again, onepiecepodcast@gmail.com for all of those submissions. Also want to remind people that OPP Dallas episodes are actually being released. You can check those all out at youtube.com/onepiecepodcast. They're really worthwhile. I really like the 2 interviews, the Sunny and Colleen one especially, that just came out. So please enjoy those, as well as the fashion editorial this week. Do we have any editorials in the pipeline for this week? Do you know, Erin?
We're still working on that, but we should have something out this week.
Cool. Anything else coming? Anything?
Not that I can think of. I have another Pirate Couture editorial in the works. So that's kind of exciting.
Hooray.
Yeah.
Cool.
Trying to think of anything else. I think that's everything. Look forward to the release of the Drumpcast coming to iTunes soon. Stephen, where can people find you?
You can follow me on Twitter at Translatosaurus. I believe if you listen to the piece together, ignore everything that I said about Volume 77. It is out, so definitely go buy it.
It's worth it for the SBS.
Yeah, you always get the SBS. That's the good stuff.
It's the real penis related stuff. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. I just I got my own copy of that recently. So we are getting towards the end of Dressrosa with the published volumes. So that's really cool.
I do want to congratulate, I guess, Stephen, that I've been seeing they've been hitting the top 10 a lot more frequently, the One Piece volumes too. That's cool. Which is all you, Stephen, as far as I'm concerned.
Completely.
Yeah. Erin, where can people find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter, Tumblr, and Instagram at Amazing Bedhead. I'm on Twitter literally 24/7, so come and talk to me if you want to talk about One Piece, boobs, One Piece boobs, and other really important things.
Those are the only 2 things I could think of. Especially since you've said them. And Ed, where could the good people contact us?
Well, Zach, you're Zach_Logan on Twitter. I'm Edward E. Fastizio. The podcast is at OnePiecePodcast.com, Twitter.com, YouTube.com, and Facebook.com/OnePiecePodcast, Reddit.com/r/OnePiecePodcast. Leave us some piece together there. OnePiecePodcast.tumblr.com is going to be overgoing a bit of an overhaul.
Well, yeah, Jill's taking it over.
All right.
So, Erin, do you want to go through any more specifics about that? Just that it's going to be a lot better and
for
active.
the Tumblr?
Yeah, the Tumblr.
More active.
Yeah, Jill's been doing a really great job finding really funny, weird One Piece related content and posting it just about every day. So there's always something new. And we always also have the news and editorial articles up on Tumblr. So be sure to follow it and tell your friends.
God, it's so great to have someone who actually understands how Tumblr works to talk about it. I can't make heads or tails of it. The podcast is also can also be contacted at One Piece Podcast. That's our Skype name. OnePiecePodcast@gmail.com is our email address. Subscribe on SoundCloud. Subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes, or call us on our phone number. Zach?
And that phone number is 347-497-MAJI. That phone number again is 347-497-6254. Call anytime. With your questions, comments, and theories. This is turning into a Monty Python thing here. So thank you guys for coming on the show. This was a great episode. Next week, since hopefully it'll be a good one, we're gonna have Joey and Bryan with us, unless anything changes there. Steve hopefully will be on as well for that one, and Ed and myself, and we'll see if we need or have room for other people. We'll throw other people. Let us know who you'd like on the show in general. With all the methods that Ed just said to contact us. There's several. Right. There's a few. But thank you, Erin, and thank you, Stephen, for coming on.
That was fun.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And we will see you next week with an all-new episode of the One Piece Podcast. My name is Zach.
My name is Ed.
We'll see you then, everyone. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
The Knights who say Nin.
That's
Well
the episode title right there.
I'm gonna have, now I have to put that on the show now.
Yeah, you have to say it again.
Well, you did. This was recorded.